Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
And we're live.
Hey, so hey,
It catches you off guard, doesn't it?
I'm usually used to the countdown.
Oh,
3, 2, 1, and point.
and point. So not many of my friends are cigar smokers.
Really?
There was this one's called an Oliva. Love the Oliva. This one, and I got some more, and these ones I do have my glasses here.
Yeah.
These are Romeo and Julietas, which are really nice.
Right.
And these were a little bit higher quality Romeo and Julietas.
Yeah.
They just weren't the run of the mill.
Nicaragua, Honduras, or what?
The Olivas, I'm not sure. I want to say they're Nicaragua, but I've become a fan of the smoking the Oliva. This one here is this is something new I got and I wanted to try out. So these are all really good ones to smoke.
You know, I have a problem because I was smoking in 7 days,
Yeah,
20 cigars.
in 7 days.
Yes,
So-
not good.
Okay, so
So I'm down to 1 or 2 a day.
well, I grew up in a household where man of the house smoked at least a pack a day. He'd wake up 2 or 3 times a night and smoke at night.
Cigarettes?
Cigarettes. Winston. So people, I think that if thank you for the new viewers that are following. This is my guest Raul, interesting guy. Like we have a lot of stories, a lot of good stuff. Grew up in the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, south side, moved around, but people when they talk about south side of Chicago, there's south side of Chicago and then the south side. It's like a near north side and north side. So I was living in like the, you hear a lot of 18th and Ashland, South Ashland, which now is predominantly Hispanic in the Pilsen district.
That's the diamond cutter there.
Oh, okay. And then
Gives you a nice little.
oh, okay. I didn't know what these were. And but the far south side is like in the 112s and stuff like that. And what's interesting, in 1966, that's where the student nurses were murdered by Richard
Really?
Speck. And I
Really?
visited the outside of the house. So so when I say the South Side, a lot of people, like many big cities, have it broken down in areas.
Right.
Pilsen, back of the yards, Lakeview up north, Wrigleyville. So anyway, that's where I started out in Pilsen, and then we moved to back of the yards, and then I went into the Army.
And you didn't just go to the Army. You were airborne, 101st Screaming Eagles.
There you go. And to all the veterans out there, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. This drink's for you guys today. And, I always wanted to be a Marine. But I've had so many medical issues as a kid, they wouldn't have taken me.
That's too bad. Yeah.
Happenstance, things happen the way they do for a minute. Here's the
Okay.
if you're gonna have a smoke, some people insist you have to light with a wood match.
Really?
Yeah, really. And I got into pipe smoking too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have some.
Tobacco pipe smoking is terrific, and
Yes, it is.
I think cigarette smoking has a really bad stigma today.
Yeah. And the thing with pipe, it's I smoke Black Cavendish. It's a sweet, aromatic, delicious, doesn't bite. And
Very, very, very sweet, very floral.
yes. Oh, yeah. That sounds like a T-shirt. Very floral.
So, there was a blend of tobacco I would get called was it 7 C's or something like that? It was a blend of like a lot of Black Cavendish, with that molasses and whatnot, with a couple other things. Best tobacco smoke ever. My little lady's gonna kill me tonight when I go to bed. She's gonna insist I take a shower. But coming out of the 80s, so like when I was a kid in the 80s, we have to make sure we don't hit that mouse there, because that mouse will set turn off the recording. And I had that happen to me. This has been quite an experience. Like little stuff like that. Don't touch the mouse. Talking for like an hour and it's not recording. It's like, no, talking for like 2 hours and realizing it's done in slow motion, or the mic wasn't connected correctly, so we're only speaking with the mic from the recorder. So let me get that match again.
Yeah, sure.
But I grew up in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't taboo then. Maybe I think the taboo of it came out around the 90s.
Of what?
Of smoking, the secondhand smoke and all that.
Yeah.
And I grew up with an old man that smoked a pack a day. Winston. Now he grew up smoking Lucky Strike.
Ooh, no filter.
No filter.
Yeah, Pall Mall. Yeah.
He probably smoked most of his life with Lucky Strike. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Camels, Chesterfield. For all those folks out there that are baby boomers,
they know. They know the names.
Oh yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid, I was watching this guy walk down the street. He was kind of like a punk rocker,
right?
Like maybe a couple of years older than I was. I remember him walking down the street, holding a cigarette in his hand like this, just walking with a cigarette in his hand, bringing it up to it, and having a smoke, and just walking with a jean jacket on, mullet.
It's amazing how you remember that. I used to ask my dad, why do you remember stuff like that? He says, because it meant something to you.
It was cool.
It was cool.
And I remember seeing that guy thinking like, man, that he's tough. Like, not sarcastically as a kid. I was like, that's a tough guy. You know, it's just the whole image. And
nowadays he would be considered swag.
Would it be swag though?
Yeah. Swagger, you know, like, cool. Yeah, he carries himself well, doesn't have to talk sometimes.
Man, this is good.
Yeah,
it's good. I think I got a good light finally. Yeah. But yeah, it's so I used to live with these brothers, really cool guys. I'm gonna see if I can get one of them on by Zoom. One's a musician in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And the other one kind of found his passion doing machining work, working on diesels.
Actually, folks, we're trying to get this to look like we're in London, so that's why we got this fog.
And our thing was every Thursday night, me, him, and another friend, we'd get together, we'd sample scotches, and we smoke different cigars, or we'd pipe smoke. And we would stay up all night, and we would just try different things every time.
How old were you when you did that?
This has to be about 6 years ago, so I was still in my 30s.
Wow.
And he was in his 20s. But it became our thing. We always wanted to sample new things and get a taste of it. Because I think growing up in our time, it was about slamming liquor.
Yeah.
Slamming liquor and all that.
The thing is, once you get past that, like me, that age, my thing is staying up all night and eating cake.
Yes. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yeah, I'm past the booze. I'm done.
So once I started expounding on like, hey, I want to do this, I started thinking like, people naturally that would be, have a good personality to bring on, and I was like, Raul.
Oh, really?
Raul.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so a little background. This is my go-to. This is kind of my go-to, Johnny Walker Black. It's a very good, easy Scotch. It's just easy to drink. It's got a good flavor. It goes good with cigars. And so Johnny Walker Black is just like my everyday. And then I have some other ones, the Macallan 12 and all that. But
oh wow,
yeah. And
I stopped drinking in 1996.
96.
Yeah.
You're at graduate high school.
See, I stopped drinking because you were drinking it all up.
My friend, cheers. Here's to you. Here's to the veterans. Everybody, thank you. Mm-hmm. Everyone who made America what it is.
Airborne.
To the Marines out there, all the military guys, and
about the military. No matter what branch, this is my story.
Yeah.
No matter what branch, we all have one thing in common.
What's that?
Is that we all left home for the unknown.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you left?
I joined the Army. I was 18 years old, right out of high school. One of those scenarios, right out of high school.
Like, and I tell people when I was 18, I was a big puss.
Really?
I was, like, if you see who I am now and when I was 18, I couldn't imagine leaving home at 18, even though I was trying to do that.
Right.
I was not the guy I am now.
Yeah.
Like confidence, no. And so for an 18-year-old, all you've known is mom and dad. School.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because right now I'm watching that new series on Apple, Masters of the Air, Masters of the Sky, about the 100th Air Force. World War II. You know the B-17s.
Oh yeah, the Army Air Corps.
Army Air Corps. And I was
Yeah.
We were Mark Monger, and Dario. We were talking a little bit about the Army Air Corps last year. So it's last week, Masters of the Air. It's a new series about the 100th Air Force. And I was telling Dario, he didn't know this, and I was like, "Do you know the Army Air Corps had lost more men than the Marines did in the whole Pacific?"
Yes, because one of those bombers goes down. You have 10 people.
Men, automatically. And they would send like one bomber group. They would send up multiple bomber groups. You have high, middle, low, and each bomber group had like 30 bombers per group, and they would come back with like half of their per group.
Yeah.
So if you had 15 ships or 30 ships, you lost 15, 150.
Yeah.
And they were running flights nonstop. So you were, and
you ever watched the movie 12 O'Clock High?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then the TV series. And I talked to a guy that went to the Air Force Academy years ago, but that was one of the training films on leadership.
12 O'Clock High.
12 O'Clock High, with the movie with Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck.
Yes, he should have won an Oscar for that.
He should have.
Awesome.
Great. Fantastic. And it's funny, those movies back then were about like legit acting. Now, like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, the movie effects now are really good.
Yeah.
So now it's like very real.
You know which movie, speaking of the war and real and now, the most recent version of Midway.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson as Halsey.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, who would have thought Woody from Cheers?
Yeah.
Like Woody from Cheers.
Yeah.
And now he's playing Halsey.
You know who else he
job.
portrayed?
Who's that?
LBJ.
Yes, he did.
Did you see?
Yeah,
Oh, you're good.
that.
You saw that too, huh?
Dude, I'm a history nut.
Yeah, well, same here. But he did a good LBJ.
He did.
I mean, you know, and
but here's another one, another like movie, pretty recent and all that. Magnum PI.
Really?
Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Who did he play?
Eisenhower.
Dude, and I mean, I've seen Eisenhower. I think Tom Selleck probably has a bigger stature than Dwight.
Oh
did.
yeah, chest. Yeah,
but he has that gaze and he has that stare, that seriousness, and Magnum, like Tom Selleck. I mean, he was a great actor. I mean, talk about another man's man. He had a presence. I mean, Magnum PI, and do you ever watch that movie Quigley Down Under? American Cowboy in Australia.
Yeah.
Just such an iconic role.
Yeah. Just for those who are listening, or LBJ is Lyndon Baines Johnson, and
so
some people
LBJ is Lyndon Baines Johnson came into office, was sworn on the plane when Kennedy was assassinated. Now, did you know? So a couple of things about him. You know the term that Johnson is based on him.
The term Johnson?
Yeah, Johnson.
No.
Like you know when I say like hey, put your Johnson back in your pants.
Oh, is it because he complained about his tailoring?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No. So the deal is he actually had a big Johnson.
Yeah.
And he would always whip it out, like at press conferences.
Really?
When he just wanted to be kind of snide, he would just whip it out in front of the reporters and say, "Look at that thing, ain't it glorious?"
Yeah, because the reason why I said it was something, because there's a part in the movie, LBJ, where he's talking to the tailor, said, "I need more room, blah blah blah, because I have and that is true, because in the movie they show him in the White House saying that on the phone, but in real life they had they were filming him. He's on his ranch and he's talking on the phone. They recorded him a lot, and that's when he made that statement. I need more room in my crotch.
Yeah. Well, apparently in real life, he was not shy about it, and he whipped it out whenever he had a chance.
Well, he would be taking a dump and talking to his cabinet. You remember that? That's true.
It's surprising, but it's true.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, just insane. So, man, we can talk about history all night. I'm a nerd for it.
Oh, yeah. Here's, speaking of history, I used to substitute teach sometimes.
I did my subbing too.
Oh, there you go. And the thing is, people, the way the world is now, says, we don't need to teach history. Well, here's so many.
With all the apologist historians now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like people, speaking of history and speaking now, COVID. people don't. They say, "Oh, it's the end of the world." Of this. The thing is, you and I know, and a lot of people out there that are watching this know about the Spanish flu.
Right.
You know, and it had the same things. It would peak, and then it's gone. It peaked. You know.
So the Spanish flu made about 3 rounds. The first round wasn't the worst. It was the second round that really,
because what do they call that? It
mutate.
Mutate.
Yeah. So the second go around, the second season of Spanish flu was when like people were dropping like flies. And there was a story. I don't remember the details. I'm going to butcher it, but something like a mayor of Philadelphia or mayor of one of these basic East Coast towns reached out to the mayor of like San Francisco. And he says, it's really bad. You got to get ready for this. It's like it's coming across the country. Because back then, there was no airplanes. So, railway was the main mode of travel. So it would take a minute to travel from like the one coast to the other coast. But once it did. And he was saying this one mayor, and I want to say it's Philadelphia, when he called the mayor from San Francisco or something, he warned them, said, you need to start stocking up coffins.
Yes, I remember that. I remember a documentary, that's repeated in every documentary I've watched.
Yeah.
Now, here's a good one. Why do they call it the Spanish flu?
Well, okay.
Okay, there's different stories.
It was reported first out of Spain.
Right on.
But they actually think it may have started in America from pigs.
Well, you know what?
Like in Kansas or Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah, but the other thing is World War I
was going on.
The troops that were coming back, the
not
trenches?
Not even the troops that were coming back. The troops that were going over the ships.
Oh, so it was cycling.
It was cycling.
Okay, because they said about the road, the rats in the
trenches.
The trenches, they were peeing in there. All of those things.
And it's funny when you talk about World War I. You talk about World War I and the Spanish flu as 2 events, but it happened at the same time.
They crossed over.
It crossed over. And that was the one thing I recall about, like reading a documentary or something about soldiers coming out to ships that were dead or dying from the Spanish flu, and they were going out to fight.
And they didn't know how to, what was the word I'm looking for? Quarantine.
Yeah, but they were wearing masks back then too.
Yeah, and people complain about wearing masks in this era, but back then they would actually not only arrest, but they would. Oh, there was a place in Europe. They'd show them hitting people with nightsticks if they didn't have their mask on.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like the plague.
Yeah.
There was I want to say maybe off Italy. If you had the plague, they would send you to an island.
Yeah.
And there was an island where people essentially were sent to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like they said there was an island for leopards.
An island for leopards.
Yeah.
And, or leopard colonies also.
Yeah.
I mean, because leprosy is back then it was another like death sentence. Now leprosy. Do you know what? We know what. There's a couple animals that spread it, but one prominent that comes to mind, local here in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, armadillos.
Really?
Yeah, they naturally carry leprosy.
Really?
Yeah, there's like only one of the 3 species of armadillos do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I must be having the delicacy of the wrong armadillo.
Oh man,
it don't taste like chicken.
Don't taste like chicken. I kind of think alligator's a cross of chicken and something else.
Really?
Yeah, alligator's delicious. Have me some alligator.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm all about trying new stuff wherever I go anywhere.
Well, I got in trouble in Korea with that.
Oh man, so you leave home, you're 18 years old, and you go off and join the army, like a different army. Like what year was that?
1973. Vietnam. Everybody was coming back.
So, because Vietnam ended like in
75 completely.
Completely?
Yeah. But my mother says when she found out that I signed up, a delayed entry in June of 73. And I understand as a parent now, but she says, "What are you doing to me?" I said, "What?" He said, "They're going to send you to Vietnam." I said, "It's over, Mom." And as a parent now, you think about your children and putting themselves in harm's way.
Yeah.
And here, talk about empty nest. Well, I just didn't leave the nest. I went into something that was unknown to me, let alone to my family.
So nobody in your family. Because your father, your stepfather
wasn't in the military.
Yeah, he was the priesthood, right?
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mother.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know about your mother's side. And
Yeah. Oh, my mother's side. All five of her brothers. 3 World War II, 2 in the Korean War.
So there was a history of.
Oh yeah, cousin in Vietnam, and then my 2 or 3 uncles from the other side, other in-laws.
Yeah.
Were World War II.
So it surprised me
yeah.
because our friend Steve, he became a Chicago police, right?
Right.
So why didn't you go that route?
Okay, good question. What happened was when I was in the Army, a lot of good things there. I got out and I went back to Chicago after 10 years in the Army, and I wanted to get on CPD, and I went to night school, daily college, junior college, on the GI Bill. And there was a guy in my class, night class, and he had 15 years on CPD. And what happened was, it was like a guardian angel, man. Because there was a freeze. It's funny now, because back then, man, you almost had to buy your way on, and now they have to pay you to get on.
I mean, they give you bonuses now.
Oh, yeah. So what happened was, the guardian angel part is, he goes, I kid you not, he goes, go back. He says, I didn't know this. You buy your 10 years federal, with the Army, get a federal job, and that's what happened.
It keeps adding.
Yeah. So I ended up, I bought my 10 years back, and I ended up with 30 years at 50.
Wow.
And 50 because I was in a law enforcement position, a covered position.
But it was still federal, so it's still...
Yeah, and I have 30-year retirement because of that time. And here's the thing. Think of it this way. If I stayed in Chicago, their retirement wasn't challenged too much, but their health benefits. The benefits were.
Yeah.
And who knows if I would have survived and this and that. And let's say, for instance, coming out to the Southwest, I came out to the Southwest because I joined the Border Patrol.
Back when it was still the Border Patrol.
When it was still, yeah.
Yeah, because now, first it was like, then it became ICE, and now it
was DHS, and then it's HCI.
Yeah.
HCI, yeah.
It seems like they change acronyms every time.
And, well, okay, here's the funny thing about that is that when I was Border Patrol, I was in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and what happened is I transferred to Baltimore as a special agent because I had Army criminal investigator experience. And when I tell people, he said, what did you do in immigration? I says, I was the water before there was ice.
Again. That is good.
I'm serious. Now they have all the money. They have we had revolvers, no body armor. Yeah. We had no body armor. We would go to places in Baltimore, all over Maryland. Today, you have maybe 100 agents in Baltimore office. We had 40 with supervisors included.
Yeah.
Our team, we have 10 agents to cover all of Maryland for work site. That was a big deal back then. How you're in this and that. We would drive 2 hours to Gaithersburg, pick up so many, come back, so that you have almost 8 hours of surveillance, the driving there, coming back. So anyway, we're talking about this because compared to then and now, we all Alamogordo. When I went to Alamogordo, there was only 30 agents. Now there's over 100.
Oh, there's got to be way more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Between customs and everything here?
Yeah. But the Border Patrol itself, we only work two agents at the checkpoint. Now they have like 4 to 6, and you see all the cars.
Well, at the checkpoints? So most people don't know this. I mean, well, if you're in the southern United States, you know this. But if you're not in southern, you don't know this. So about an hour away from the border, when you're on the interstates heading north, east, or west, you come across the Border Patrol checkpoint. They ask, are you American? Yes. And they're good because they just know. They know by looking at you. They can read you. And 9 times out of 10, they just flag you through.
Yeah.
And if you give them that one indicator, they'll look you over. They'll kind of look around the back. They even have the dogs there. But so a buddy of mine was telling me this now. So it's funny you said there used to be two Border Patrol agents per checkpoint.
Right.
Now they won't let you be there by yourself because
it's a union rule. The guy told me.
But that happened because somebody was killed at a checkpoint, and the drug runners would try to go through, and when they would go up to the vehicle, they would try to pull the Border Patrol agents into the vehicles.
Really?
Yeah, he said. He said so. He says so. If there's not anybody there with you, you're not even allowed to anymore. So it's a union rule, but it's like really more than that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, though, here's the thing. We used to work the checkpoint 1985, 86, 87. I worked there. Revolver with 12 in the loop.
Yeah.
And then we had a shotgun, but it was locked with a secret button anyway.
Yeah.
And poor lighting, but I have to... and then we wore the smoky hat, tie in the wintertime. Oh, yeah, we were... Trust me, people pull up there.
Very professional organization.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, with that, people would say, oh, you only asked the Hispanics. No. I was the guy, and we were trained, you ran them and this and that. And one good story about that, talking to everyone. Well, first of all, I would ask an American or Anglo.
Yeah.
He said, well, what do I look like? Well, sir, you look French, you look German. Oh, I never thought of it. So a black guy would come up. He'd say the same thing with you. I said, well, sir, you could be from here, from there. I never thought of that. So I was working days over at Oro Grande checkpoint. And this black guy comes up.
Arizona, right?
Oro Grande?
Yeah.
No, Oro Grande is your thing at Casa Grande.
Yeah.
Oro Grande is right between Alamogordo and El Paso on Highway 54.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man.
So, and there's just two of us.
Middle of nowhere.
Right. So, and I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
But you know what got me ready for that is being in the military 10 years. It's another assignment. Anyway, during the day, this black guy comes up. I said, sir, state your citizenship, please. And he spoke with a broken English and stuff. And I said, where are you from? He said, the Ivory Coast. I said, okay, you have any documents that you're, immigration documents? He says, oh, yeah, I'm a student. Okay. What school? Boston College. Okay. But he's coming from El Paso. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then I go, so then I said, pull over, secondary. And it's daytime. So we were good there.
Yeah.
I called Boston College. They referred me to the registrar.
Wait, you called Boston College right there and there?
Yeah, oh yeah, from the checkpoint. And I called there. They, excuse me, they switched me over to registrar. Registrar switched me over to international students. Excuse me. And then what happens? I said, yeah, I got such and such. And I said, oh yeah, he hasn't been here for 2 semesters. Okay, can you send blah, 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 get the proof. Okay, thank you. He was gone. Got deported.
Wow.
I did my job.
You did? I mean,
It wasn't like picking Hispanics only.
It wasn't like just some Mexican
right,
drug.
no.
I mean, it was like
I did my job.
It was a legit. That was like a very legit stop.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did my job. I didn't just say, okay, he's black. Okay, nah, he can't be. No.
Right.
The point is, people think that the immigration service back then, even when I was in, is only for Latinos and this and that.
Yeah.
But no. It was all national. I have so many stories in a short amount of time. I worked the streets.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short. I have so many. So anyway, here's a funny one though. Well, there's 2 funny ones, but real quick. I'm working the White Sands checkpoint, 1986. It sounds like a joke, but it isn't. 3 Poles pull up. 3 Poles pull up to the checkpoint.
My God!
I asked for ID, and they show me California driver's license. Here's the this is what you have to look at. The photographs in a California license, easy to tell fraud. You know why?
Why is that?
They had the same clothes on in the picture.
Oh, man.
And we used to call false documents 50-footers. That means from 50 feet, you could tell it's fraud.
50-footers. No kidding.
Yeah, so then we take them in. Two guys and a woman. I have my partner.
Middle of the New Mexico desert.
Yeah.
3 poles.
They got lost coming from California.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, people come from California and cut to 40.
LA and San Diego. Yeah, I-10 goes all the way across.
Yeah. So this is the turnout back and forth from 10 to 40, the shortcut across. Anyway, this is going to get you. So my partner is sitting there and excuse me, and we don't get all excited when we bust somebody. We're like, okay, we got this. Anyway, so she's standing and she's Roger sitting. And she goes to him, not me.
Yeah.
I'm Hispanic, so she don't look at me. You'll listen. I mean, you'll hear this. She goes, please, mister, please let us go. We're no Mexican. Oh, Roger says, Raul, you want to take care of this?
Wow.
I said, yes. So then I said, man, then I get my professional, ma'am, U.S. immigration law is for anyone that is blah, 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 would enter the United States, blah, blah, would document, blah, blah, blah. And then, so everything gets quiet. And I get on the phone to run checks. See, back then, you had to call the camp in El Paso, see if they have room to detain the arrestees. Women, it was tough to have space in the camp for women, okay? But the thing that elevated was, first of all, they weren't from a foreign country that was nearby.
Right.
So for Polish, German, whatever nationality that was overseas, Chinese, whatever, they found room in the camp. And they had room for the female and the two Poles. So this way, just like today, when people come in, they give them a letter, and they said, okay, you have a court date now in, 2030 or something?
Yeah.
And back then, for those out there that may be immigration or whatever, may have heard this term, we call them run letters.
Run letters.
Yeah, it's actually a document saying, okay, you have this time, you're going to give me an address, they'll send you a notice to appear in court.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, it's an ROR as far as no bond, no bail, no nothing. So you're out.
Release on your own recognizance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And that's why they call them run letters, because they're not going to show up. And
They
now,
run.
Yeah. And so what happened was we did that. They went to camp and stuff. And so what was the other funny? Oh, I have so many funny ones.
Oh, I bet.
Okay, here's for I want to make people laugh on this one. And, here's the thing. In 85, 86, 87, when we worked at checkpoints, man, we had so much, all of immigration, all of law enforcement was respected.
It was a different time.
And now I understand when I talk to older people, oh, back in the day. Now I understand, because I am that person saying back in the day.
But there's so many more eyes on law
Oh,
enforcement.
yeah, yes. Social media. I mean, you got cameras everywhere.
Everywhere. And people are looking to bust law enforcement.
Oh, yeah. What happened is that you ever go on YouTube, they show people coming to the checkpoints and says, well, I have a right. What right do you have? So here's a funny story about that. This is several years I watched it. And the girl's taping, the guy's sitting there, the boyfriend, whatever, behind the wheel. And she blah, blah, blah. So finally, she's yelling at the guy, said, you but right, blah, blah, blah. And young girl, you could just tell, the young. So then I could tell right away. Old-time Border Patrol came up there when I saw him wearing a cowboy hat. And he goes, shut up. And I go, ooh. I said, that girlfriend said, oh, I love him.
A man of authority.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. And then she did. And he just said, okay, blah, 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 whatever.
Well, and I think what happened, it took a couple of bad apples to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Your Mark Furmans.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It took a couple of people to abuse that authority, and suddenly everybody's got their eyes on law enforcement on every level.
Well, and I could say this, that the best way of saying it, if that person, there was different people that had different countries, had different policies, asylums, Guatemalans had this, and Chinese had this. But a good story about doing our job, state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
They had, they were doing the roads, back and forth. They every year they're doing it. The rocks hitting your windshield.
Right.
So anyway, I'm bored. It's daytime. So New Mexico truck comes by. Truck. Yeah. I go, I'm bored. Somebody just talk. Nosy. So I stop the truck and I get up on the step and I talk to the driver. I said, hey, how long is this going to be? When are you finishing? Okay.
Yeah.
And I go, I said, when are you guys going to be done? And he says, he didn't say nothing. So our next thing is you have reasonable suspicion that this guy isn't. So then I go, ¿de dónde eres? De México. I says, pues, traes documentos para trabajar. You have documents to work.
And he should have his card on him.
Right. He was straight illegal.
Straight illegal.
He presented fraudulent documents to the state of New Mexico.
Really?
But that was 1986. But I went to teach in Artesia. And this is like maybe 8 years later. And I brought that scenario up to one of the civilians.
Oh, you were teaching at the academy.
Yeah.
Artesia.
Artesia,
Big
right.
academy out there. I mean, a lot of people don't know that there's a a big border patrol
Training area,
academy out there, and it's supposed to be one of the most difficult academies to go through.
Yeah. But see here, there's so many stories that bounce around, but this is an education for people that may not know, especially in New Mexico. Senator Domenici is the one responsible for getting the Border Patrol to Artesia. Artesia was a fart in the dark.
I mean, oil town.
Yeah,
Couple what do you call it? Oil derricks out there.
Yeah, and it was the initial installation.
Cute town. Cute
Yeah,
town.
oh yeah.
Cute town, but nothing there.
Money.
Yeah.
The people would say, "You smell that? That's the smell of money."
And you're smelling,
that's a refinery.
And you're smelling the refinery. You're like, that smells like crap.
Anyway, so the FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, it was a Christian school of some kind, a junior college or something. So it was a campus. So they took it over, blah, blah, blah. But now it's huge. But the thing is now...
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I graduated high school in 96.
Okay.
There was a big Border Patrol hiring event in about 98, 99 that year.
Uh-huh.
So I took the Border Patrol test. I mean, I passed all the areas really well.
Yeah.
And you heard me speak Spanish a few minutes ago.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. After traveling all through Central America and South America, it finally kicked in.
Well, you know what helped you the most? Is when you did that movie, Zorro Return.
Oops. So, at that time, I was probably like 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22. So I took the Border Patrol exam. And I remember my college professor, I was studying education.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, I think I'm going to go to Border Patrol. He was like so disgusted that I was going to go to Border Patrol. Here I'm thinking like, well, it can't be that bad. I mean, he's like, but you're Mexican and you're people. I was like, I'm an American, son of a Marine. And then my father, he's one of those Texans. Even though he was like Mexican, he was one of those guys that grew up in Texas where they taught you're Texan. And so he grew up with that idea. So he goes, so probably more than American, he was Texan.
Right. Oh yeah.
But so I didn't know Spanish very well. So I took the artificial language test.
Yeah.
Flunked it with flying.
Oh
colors.
yeah, because see, they didn't have that when I was in, and the thing is, I took that in the Army, and it's like, it sounds like, because the problem is, since I was in Korea, I spoke Korean a little bit, and sometimes the words sounded German.
Yeah. Sometimes me hitting the mic.
Then sometimes it sounded like Korean and Spanish, and it was messing me up. But I actually I clept out afterwards. I clept out 3 semesters in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah. A C average. I didn't have to take class. So, real quick, anybody that's going to college, thinking of going to college or whatever, look at the CLEP test. It's not just for Spanish; it's for math.
For everything.
Yeah. People they don't advertise that.
When I was going to school and I was actually there, student, I was living in a fraternity house. I got what are those student jobs, work study jobs.
Yeah.
And my work study job was in the testing office. And I mean, I'll never forget this one girl. Most non-social girl ever, Caucasian young lady, not attractive. She came in with her mother.
That wasn't Hillary Clinton, was it?
It could have been her twin,
her clone.
I know, her clone, and her mom was there. Her mom was signing her up, and her mom must have signed her up for 6 to 8 CLEP exams, and she homeschooled her daughter.
Really?
And she clept half of college.
There you go. See, folks?
Yeah, I mean, you take the CLEP, it's probably a lot easier.
Yeah, it depends if what you know. But anyway, getting back, let's finish one more story with the Border Patrol, funny one.
Yeah.
Actually, real quick, too. At White Sands, we stopped some Japanese. They had their passports, but they were overstays.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Uh-huh.
And daytime, and we process. We give them an extension, 7 days to get. They had their tickets, blah blah blah. So we gave them 7 days to get to California. They were lost. So we processed them, and they're happy.
Lost to New Mexico.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, it's title of many books. And so we're done, and they're happy. They don't understand whatever. We had to get a train anyway. So they said, "Oh, we take a picture."
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, okay, go ahead, whatever." No, you. And I go, "Me?" So I put my arms around the 3 of them, and somebody took a picture of us. So, but the funny part is, I tell people today, their great grandchildren throw darts at my picture. In Japan.
I bet there's a picture somewhere of you in
Oh,
Japan.
yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. Every time you feel that little,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
But anyway, one more. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, 18-year-old you going to the Army,
Yeah.
who would have thought that you would have ended up in the New Mexico desert Border Patrol agent?
Right? That's what I thought, too.
Yeah.
A story about that same mentality is I was here in Alamo 3 months maybe, and then I'm back up. So I'm in the dark in a vehicle, and I just stop. And honestly, bro, I put my hand on my badge, and I go, I'm a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah.
It was emotional. I had tears in my eyes.
Like what did it mean? Like, what did it mean to you?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
Like you said, I started in Chicago. I wanted to be a cop in Chicago. I was Army. And all of a sudden, I had no idea about immigration.
Yeah.
They said Border Patrol, money.
I mean, coming from the north, you don't think of immigration because what's the border like in Canada? With Canada, it's just a strip of land.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing.
No, they could walk across big time. They have sensors, but blah blah blah. But the thing is, what does this mean to y'all out there we're speaking? Is you don't know what your destiny is, and you are the author of your legacy, and it starts with fulfilling your destiny. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you right now, when people said, don't do this, they will not pay your bills. They don't sleep with you or whatever. But the point is, I had people, friends, saying, don't go in the Army, don't blah, blah, stay on the block with us. I remember I was 18 years old. I'm in a helicopter at 2 o'clock in the morning with the doors open, and we're doing map of the earth. The guys were still Vietnam veterans, flying the plane, choppers. And it was in the middle of the 2 o'clock, and I'm looking out, and I said, the same thing. Look at this.
Yeah.
I'm 18. My friends are back on the block, and I'm here doing this.
Yeah.
And then we land, and they said, okay, they're going to pick us up again. It's at night, and they said, Ruiz, go on out there and guide that chopper. And,
Yeah.
And you're out there.
18, 19-year-old.
And I'm like, I was like, well, okay.
And quite literally having a man's life in your life.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, for the Vietnam veterans out there, I have a special
first
place.
First of all, God bless you guys. Vietnam veterans.
Right.
I mean, you talk about the good war, World War II.
Right.
Forgotten war, Korean War.
Right.
But if there was ever anybody that was forgotten for a while, and I was a kid in the 80s, and I tell people this, growing up as a kid, you still felt the anger of Vietnam in the 80s. People were visibly angry about it.
Yeah.
And I work in healthcare, and I have a retired Vietnam guy. When I first started, this is like in 2010 or something like that. So what is that? It's like 30, 40 years after Vietnam. Mm-hmm. He's already retired. This guy is still severe PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
And severe and still really pissed at the government about it. He can't sleep at night because his PTSD is so bad.
Right.
Like God bless the guys that went to Vietnam. They went through some stuff.
I was at Whataburger a few years ago, and there was this GI. I think a lot of us, we wear our caps and stuff, and Vietnam veteran. And
I tell the story real fast.
Oh, yeah. Holy cow.
This was a gift.
Uh-huh.
The helmet and the camo was a Christmas gift.
Right.
But it's a real helmet.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real Marine camo.
Yeah.
But the globe, eagle, and anchor
insignia, right.
That was given to me by a Vietnam veteran that was recon in the jungle of Vietnam.
Balls. Yeah.
Balls of steel.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I met him at Starbucks. I was working at Starbucks.
Uh-huh. Really?
Nicest guy you'd ever meet.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He was a flight nurse now as an old man.
Uh-huh.
And he says, I did so much damage out there in my days. It's time I put people's lives back together.
Isn't it? I know what he means. I wasn't in Vietnam, but I have some others. I tell people, and there's some of y'all listening out there or know military and stuff, but I was 18, went to the 101st. I was in Airborne Infantry.
Yeah.
And I tell people to this day, the Vietnam veterans that came back to my unit, they made this 18-year-old a soldier.
Oh, I bet.
Oh,
I bet.
Big heart. My heart is just...
You know, okay, so my father.
Yeah.
we meet like many great men in our lives. We all meet many great men. I mean, there's never, you don't meet just one guy in your life. You meet many great men. Mm-hmm. But my father, old school Marine, Korean War veteran Marine.
Right.
He raised 4 boys and a girl, all with like a year apart, just about. And like we'd be in church,
right,
and we'd all be sitting there all.
Oh yes.
And everybody's like, "Oh, your kids are so well behaved." They didn't know that we were kids of a Marine.
There was,
there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You would sit there, and as little kids, we knew that already. And old school Marine. You know what I mean? Made me the guy I was today. I'll tell you a story about him. So many stories about my dad.
Sure.
So many stories, But after I had moved out, and I moved out young, and I went crazy and did all my stuff I did for going to college for 20 years.
Yeah. All-American kid.
All-American kid. Well, once I started working, like my professional career, by the time I hit 30, I started working on my professional life. And
yes,
he would always tell me, he's like, "You got to grab the bull by the horn, son." He says, "You got to grab the bull by its horn." He always said that. He always told me, "Grab the bull by the horns. Don't ever let go." And about a week before he died.
Oh, yes.
He was still sitting in the garage in his chair, still smoking and drinking his beer, a week before he died. And he says, "Son, I'm proud of you." Oh. He says, "You got the bull by the horns."
Oh,
he says,
man.
"You got it."
I got goosebumps.
It still
I
kind of
see
makes
the
me water
tears
on.
in your
Yeah,
eyes, yeah.
I remember never forget him telling me, he's like, "You've got the bulls. You got it."
Yeah.
He said, "Don't ever let it go."
And you all out there know somewhere along the line you had a family member, parent that would give you those incentives. Those words. Mine was, my mother told me for years ago.
Man, dude, I'm like all.
I see. Yeah. Well, you're human.
That really gets me.
That's love and being human, man. And the thing is, my mother, you get knocked down, you get back up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have gotten up many times. But the more I do it, the less I get knocked down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
How true is that? God, I mean, God bless the kids that are growing up now, because there's that old Mongolian thing. It was on Joe Rogan, and who was it? There's a guy that has a podcast that he does a hardcore history. Mm-hmm. Really good podcast. And he was talking to Joe Rogan, that guy that hosted, and he says, Genghis Khan had a saying, like hard time make hard men. Hard men make good times.
Oh, I was at that scene.
and he says, good times make soft men, and soft men make bad times. And so, all those old guys that you and I grew up with, they're old, they're passing.
Oh, yeah.
And those guys that like kind of set us straight. So I think about, I think about this a lot. I think about the kids growing up now. Because this lady I'm dating right now, and some of the people tell me, they're pretty straight with me. They're like, dude, you're a dick. But it doesn't seem that way to me. When I think about it, I was like, my dad wouldn't expect any less of me. He'd expect me to be straight with you and tell you as it is. And, we live in a time where we can use those guys.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is now, again, for folks out there, when you see old guys like me wearing a baseball cap, military, and so many out there and it's true. And your parents, some of your parents were military, and you know this. They may be 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. And the thing is, they were young ones, just like we will be old like them.
Yeah.
But that does not mean we were born old. We progressed in our youth, and we chose a career, and being in the military was one of them, of course, and that they did a lot of stuff that, what I tell sometimes? There's people now, everything I did, they can't do this much of it.
Yeah.
And it's not that being brave or, gutsy and stuff. No, it's in the head.
It's in the head.
It's a survival mentality. It's, if I'm going to get to point Z, I have to go.
Here's the thing. Like, okay, let's talk about bullying. Mm-hmm. Bullying, you shouldn't bully. Don't be a jerk. It's not cool. But you know what? In our days, when you were bullied, what did your old man tell you?
You better stand up to them.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my old man would say, if you're going to get in a fight, you better not lose.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays they're like, let's talk about it. Let's sit down and talk. Back in our days, you settled it right then and there.
But the other thing nowadays is it's you and me. Yeah. All of a sudden, there's 6 other guys on you.
6 other guys on you.
And that's different too. And back then it was fist, then it maybe escalated knives. Now it's guns.
Got the window open for the smoke.
Oh yeah, no, I thought that was about a B-17.
I opened the window for the ladies, so hopefully the smoke will dissipate.
Oh, no shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can leave.
No, you're welcome.
And the next time you see, Mark will be wearing sunglasses. 2 black guys.
I fell and hit the doorknob repeatedly, Raul.
Yeah, right.
It's a funny place we live in nowadays. Mm-hmm. The world's changed. Like the world has changed so much in the last 20 years. And, I keep on telling, like with her, I tell her, I was like, we talk about 9/11. We were just talking about 9/11. And I was telling her about it. I was like watching 9/11 happen. It's like you knew the world was changing right then and there. Like you knew the world was changing right in front of you. And I was telling her, like, she was in Mexico and she was like a little kid back then. But I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you knew the world changed that day. And the United States had never been the same since.
No, excuse me. And then that was one of the reasons why, one of the initial reasons why they had to go under Homeland Security.
Yeah.
That was the starting point. Plus,
for
immigration. Yeah. But the thing is, the reason I'm going to tell you, the people they put, in my opinion.
Do you need some ice for your?
Yes, please. And I'm just drinking tea, but yeah. Okay, thanks. And the thing, man, those are big cubes.
The big balls.
But the thing is, though, we had a good, in my opinion, under the Department of Justice, INS came with Border Patrol, investigations, examiners, inspectors, and detention officers.
Yeah.
And that was us.
Yeah.
And now under DHS, Department of Homeland Security, what was happening is we had poor commissioners, meaning...
So you were still in the Border Patrol at that time?
Oh, yeah. And then investigations...
Wait, what year did you retire?
2005.
2005. I didn't realize it was 2005.
Yeah.
Because I must have met you around that time.
Yeah.
Between 2005 and 2010.
Yeah. And the thing was that we had a good thing going, and what happened, this is my opinion again, when we went to DHS, a lot of the supervisors, because they were custom supervisors.
Yeah.
And that's where that window of time where immigration went down as far as enforcement, in my opinion, because you had supervisors, and there was a lot of clashing.
So that was during Bush Jr.? Yeah.
Was it
Obama?
No. It was what was it before Carter? Who was before Reagan? Reagan came in. Go ahead.
Okay, so during Reagan in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. 2005.
2005. That was World Trade Center because Bush Jr. was 8 years.
Yeah.
So that was still Bush Jr.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm talking about when I was blah blah blah. Anyway, the point is, so it went under. That's where you had the custom blah blah blah, and things changed. But the only thing good for it is they had more money, budgeting and stuff. So anyway, man, we're talking about so much, and we're not high or on speed, but you could tell that I'm from Chicago and I'm shy. And no, I'll be here visiting Mark periodically, and Mark knows. And if there's any topics you guys want us to talk about, Mark has been around. He's been around history. He lived history, and shoot, being my age.
So we lived 2 different lives.
Yeah,
I think I lived a more of a modern, classic kid life, wasting time, partying, not doing much good. I mean, you're just doing your job, but you had a really honorable life.
Honestly,
talk
yes.
about coming from, like I say, from Chicago,
right,
going to the 101st. I mean, talk about the legend. And
Oh yeah, historical.
Historical.
A lot of people, non-military, know the Screaming Eagle.
If nobody else, anything else about the military, they recognize Screaming Eagles. Mm-hmm. I mean, Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers. Yeah, that was big publicist,
Currahee. So, okay, what does Currahee mean to you?
That's actually, to me, it means the eagle.
Currahee means the eagle.
Yeah. To me, yeah. And
wait. So you join you went when you were 18. So that's when you go to boot.
Okay, right.
And so
to basic, yeah.
Basic was like what, 18 weeks or
8 weeks? 8 weeks. That seemed like 8 years.
Really, it was like 8 weeks.
Oh yeah!
Forever.
Oh my God, my girlfriend's gonna leave me, man.
Really?
Yeah, but she didn't.
Did they ever tell you that Jody's got your girl?
Oh yeah.
What's the story with Jody? Like, why do they always say Jody's got your girl?
Because Jody had flat feet and a big doot doot.
Wow.
And but now in Spanish they would say, "Yeah, you're at the Border Patrol Academy. Yeah. Sancho's got your girl."
Oh yeah, Sancho's got your girl.
Yeah. So, but here's something that's it. Why did I pick the 101st?
So wait. Because when you go to the when you enlist now, you do the ASFAB, and they tell you what your possible MOSs are. Yeah. So that kind of how it happened with you. Did they tell you what your options were, or did they?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not embarrassed about it, but I went to a good Catholic high school, but I got very average grades.
Yeah.
So I took the ABBAT test or whatever to see what job I was gonna do.
Yeah.
I knew that I was screwed.
Yeah.
Cat 4, dummy.
Really?
So I had options. You know what options?
What's that?
Combat arms or be a cook.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was your only two options.
Yeah. It's interesting because to be that Cat 4 and look at how I progressed, my intelligence.
You would never have thought it. With your experience, like
my life,
your life, you would never have thought Cat 4.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and the veterans out there know what I mean. And but I'm at the MEPS Center, the Military Induction Center. And processing.
Is it like when I went to the MEPS? Cause I went to MEPS like 4 or 5 times trying to get in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And every time I'd be there, like three of the times I'd be there, and there was a bunch of kids, and we were all there standing there in our skivvies.
Oh yeah.
And most of them are 18, so they're all there covering their privates, but we're all there standing there in our underwears, and the doctor goes from person to person with his clipboard, just looks at you and moves on. Kind of like that.
You know what army I was in?
What's that?
We were naked in a circle.
Really?
And we weren't having the middle guy doing it. It was a doctor going around, grabbing see if you had a hernia.
Like, turn your head to cough.
Naked.
Yeah. And most people don't know that, but when you put your fingers like under a testicle or something, you turn to cough.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be some sort of symptom, or you could feel that there's a hernia.
Yeah. Right. Well, and now, for those who don't know this, when they said, bend over and kiss, spread your cheeks.
Yeah.
It came from that. We all turn around, you spread your cheeks, and they examine you just looking. Now that I'm older, is there a way they were telling if somebody was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I was thinking. And I don't know. I was okay. So with that said, now when I get checked up and being naked, if I see a line, I take off my clothes. Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
That's another episode.
Right there with you.
No.
Jeez.
And so when I go to the locker room, you see people, they go into the shower or to the bathroom to change.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't compare anything.
It's only a kid when you're really conscientious about that. Yeah. When you get older, it's not a big deal. So you're 18. You go to MEPS.
Yeah. Oh, and then I'm sitting there and he says, "Okay, what airborne unit?" A friend of mine who was in the Army, he said, "If you're going to go in, go airborne."
Really? Okay. I think was when. So that was like 70, 78. You said
73. I went in. Yeah, I was sitting in MEPS.
So at that time, was that like were those like the badasses?
Oh yeah. So what happened is, as you see nowadays, the military combat patches are on the right arm, shoulder, and right arm. And then a guy passed. He said, "What airborne unit do you want to go to?" And I'm like, "Cat 4." I don't know. You want to go to North Carolina or Kentucky?
Yeah, right.
So I saw this guy walk by, and I said, "I want to wear this patch."
Really? Like, really?
Yeah. I told him, and he said, "Okay, that's the 101st." Is that cool? That's like a movie.
What? I mean, like that's like the movie.
Yeah, that was it. And yeah, that's it. If you're doing a movie,
like it looks, you saw it looked cool.
it looked cool. And I said, I want to wear that patch.
You had no clue what you're signing up for.
No.
Damn.
Is that a movie? And actually, that could be a part of the scene. You got tears in your eyes.
Damn.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's almost part of like a movie, you know, like because I do movie stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like that would be your opening. It says, I want to wear that patch. The music comes in and stuff, and then they cut away me in jump school and stuff. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool. I mean, that is insane. That's how you picked your MOS.
Oh yeah. Well, I picked my division, my unit, and he said infantry. He said, you want to be a cook? I got. Cook.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, combat arms. What do you want to be? Tanker? You want to be a cannon cocker? You know, a cannon, you know, artillery? I go, no. He said, well, infantry. I said, what do infantry do? I found out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jesus.
Like the movies you hear, we humped. And if we didn't jump, we had choppers. And I was in during there was a gas crisis then, so we didn't take choppers, so we humped. I did a lot of walking, which is okay.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And it was an experience. But from that, today's military, they have all kind of protection for your eyes, your hearing.
Everything.
We didn't have that. You're on a chopper, you have no hearing protection. You're whoop, 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 whoop.
The old Hueys, right?
Yeah, the old Hueys, and then the C-130s, which is you jump out of those, you know, and then the C-141s is a jet, you jump out of those, or you walk out.
The Chinooks?
Chinooks, we didn't go on those. The Marines use a lot of Chinooks.
My old man told me about that landing in a Chinook in Korea.
Right.
And he says they got in a Chinook. They were in a Chinook, and they were getting ready to land, and he forgot to put his seatbelt on, his strap.
Oh yeah.
And he said he did. They were like the two of the wrong ones.
Right.
And so he
got
got
mail to mail or whatever,
something like that. So he just ties a knot because when a Chinook's going in under fire, it swings from side to side. And he's like, "Oh crap!" He knew he was in it then, so he said, "I just got those straps. I just tied a knot and held on for life," because he said it's coming in, and they come in fast. I didn't know this about Chinooks. They're dual prop, and they're counter rotated to counterbalance each other.
Right.
So they take a more balanced flight.
Right.
Easy, more controllable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they used to call those Jolly Green Giant.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you know the size and blah blah blah.
Big, and they've been in service forever.
I was in one only in Korea, just in peacetime.
How cool!
And you know we would rotate because we were going from a different part of Southern Korea to Busan, blah blah blah.
What year was that?
I was in Korea from 1978 to 1979.
Was Korea still hot back then? Like, was it hot? Was it hotter then, or is it hotter now? You think?
I don't know about. Put it to you this way: I arrived in June of '78. Yeah, you smell the rice patties.
Oh yeah, I mean Korea now is like.
Oh yeah, it's modernized.
It's like uber modernized.
Oh yeah,
completely industrial. Was it there yet?
No. The Olympics
in
81. I don't know.
I still remember the tune in my head. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I never followed the Olympics.
I remember the tune to the Olympics that year.
Yeah, guys used to tell guys, you know, they say, "Oh no, it's different." Man, when I tell them I'm older.
I have this friend of mine. I don't remember where I met him. He was like a gas station clerk or something, but he was in the army, and he did like 2 rounds in Korea and 2 tours of Korea, and he was telling me, he's like, "Man, women in Korea are just," he goes, "there's something else," and he says he was like, "I was getting with this girl in Korea."
Okay, keep talking.
I know, right? And he says, you know, she gave me gonorrhea. And he says, "God bless her."
Was her name? No.
He says she was so good. Once he got it, you know, he got himself cleaned up. He goes, "I went straight back to her and got it again."
Wow. You know what we used to call people that they get an award? And it was the silver bullets.
The silver bullets.
You get the silver bullets.
So
we gave a guy that had the clap, and as a farewell thing, we got him a belt buckle, because in Korea, they'll make anything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we had 2 bullets designed on the buckle. Oh yeah, oh
Man.
yeah, but when I was there, again, here's why I no longer drink. I stopped in 1996. I had 22 years in the government. I was going to screw up, and I was doing stuff, and I stopped drinking in Korea. Oh, out of 365 days, you're there a year.
Yeah.
I drank 360.
You drink what?
360 days.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing to do.
I'm sure.
You go to the Ville, well, unless you go to the field, which we didn't go much. I was in the military police over there, and it so many stories I have, but there's careers that get ruined, even in the civilian world, for assault and all of this. But see, SOFA law, and it's I forgot what it means now, but what would happen? And I saw this, and if a person didn't like you, Korean.
Yeah.
And the girl sometime would do this. Oh, he hit me. And I remember this one story, a lieutenant. He said he didn't. There was no evidence, but he lost his career.
You can't prove it or not disprove it.
So anyway, Korea, actually, I wish I would have taken more photographs, but I enjoyed it. It was old school still.
It was still old school Korea.
Oh, yeah. And I saw some people talk about driving now in Korea. I would be in the bus, and we're all packed in there, and the bus driver's passing like you hear people in Central America, some places.
Oh yeah,
they go on to Colombia on the side of a mountain, Jesus
Christ,
and everybody leaned to the left and stuff. Yeah, you're right. and I wouldn't look. Or you get in the cab, the same thing. You tell them and there's like 6 of us in a cab, and it's the size of those little tiny things that and we're all crammed up, and all the guys saying on the radios, "Yoboseo, yoboseo, ne, yoboseo," and it's like yoboseo means okay, and we're weaving, and we're like, everybody looked down and stuff like, So I'm lucky to be here, and
I mean, when you were there, did you feel like it was like still a hot? Like, did you feel like the presence, like just across the border of North Korea,
well, I was down south of Seoul.
Okay,
and
you say Seoul? Is that how they say it? Seoul.
Seoul. Yeah, Seoul. Yeah, I speak a little bit of Korean.
Do you?
Yeah.
First of all, let me say, Korean women, of all the Oriental women,
Asian
women,
yes,
Koreans are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
God, Koreans are beautiful.
Okay, I'm divorced now.
Okay.
So I could say this. And,
I'm not married yet, so I can still talk about it.
Knock, knock, knock. Somebody's at the door. Anyway, if I was there another 6 months, I would have married a Korean.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful women. Beautiful women.
And they treat you, well, they want to come to the States.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But no, very pretty. Very pretty. I had some that I said, oh my God, I can't. And then I'm glad I left.
Yeah.
But no, it was a part of my life.
Yeah.
That I did, and I'm proud of it.
Oh,
military, because we didn't have GPS or anything. We had to go to a site, and when I was being investigator, I had to go to a site. I had just had the map, and that's why I started learning Korean.
Right.
You know. So just enough. Where is this? What's your name? Blah blah blah. Where do you live? And this.
I had a college buddy, a friend of a friend, who was Korean, and when he was college, he became of age.
Excuse me.
He had to go do his time in the Korean Army.
Oh, the ROK Army. The Republic of Korea. Yeah.
And he went Special Forces.
Oh, badass.
And he's talking about like their training up there in the snow and being fully armed to the teeth on the DMZ facing you. And he talks about like some of the scariest times of his life. You're just staring down the guy across from you, just as armed to the teeth as he was, staring him down.
Excuse me.
I mean, and if anything happened, it would have been right there. And he did his time. I mean, like, grew up here in the States.
Yeah.
But
really?
Yeah, but like,
but he was still a Korean citizen.
I don't know if he was a Korean citizen or whatnot, but he was expected to go back home.
Wow. And it's 2 years, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they call them ROK soldiers, meaning Republic of Korea.
Republic of Korea.
Right. And they're tough because I was on a train one time, a commercial train, and they caught this guy in civilian clothes, and they found out that he was civilian clothes, but he's a ROK soldier.
Uh-huh.
And they talked to him, they're laughing. I said, okay. They slap him. I said, oh.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then they laugh again, and they're talking. And then they talked to him. I'm sure they were like, you're not supposed to be out of uniform. In the old days, the military was like that, but they didn't slap you. U.S. military. Anyway, I drank. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't drive over there. I crawled. Okay, a good example. You go into the NCO club.
Yeah.
And happy hour. Are you ready for this, folks? Is Falstaff beer, cold, happy hour, 2 for 35 cents.
35 cents.
That's why I crawled.
Christ.
Mixed drinks, 70 cents for
What?
2.
God,
And everybody had the table full, like
2 for 35 cents.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why
I'm sure that's a bloody mess.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't remember. But the next day, the way I treated my hangover, like probably a lot of us do, I couldn't get enough spicy food in me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm like, Tabasco. So
If you grew up here in New Mexico, it's always about like gay menu though.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. But no, I was fortunate. I was, let's see, I was 23 when I went over.
Yeah.
And I got back, and yeah, we were still married. My wife at the time met me in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And we spent a few days there when, the trolley, blah, blah,
Back
blah.
when San Francisco was still San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the trolley was only 50 cents.
Yeah.
Now, it's just like anything
Well,
else.
I took the trolley in New Orleans. I was there a couple of weeks ago. It was $1.25, I think it was.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. And those are nice trolleys, too.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
They're nice. It was kind of cool. They were nice trolleys.
Yeah, but San Francisco, everything else gets commercialized tourist thing or whatever. But that ice is lasting.
Yeah, I bought these ice molds, and they're supposed to give you
okay. Yeah.
And it gives you a perfectly round ice cube, and I think it's kind of cool. That's why I got them.
Yeah, it's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, people out there say, man, Raul's easily distracted.
But that's the way we've been from the get-go.
Yeah, as friends, sure. And I think that's what draws us as far as personalities, and you all out there too. You have those friends that you draw to, whether it's a gamer or sense of humor or talking smack.
I can't believe we've known each other for about 15 years already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Going on 20 years.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you were just freshly retired.
Yes. Yeah, we had some good conversations, and you working at Starbucks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's you've come a long way, buddy.
If anybody knows it's you, I think.
Oh yes,
you were a part of that.
I've seen your ups and downs, man. And but the thing is, I saw you take on the bull.
Oh, I will take that, sir.
You like that?
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Sitting there at the Starbucks. I mean, that was our thing.
Yeah.
Drinking coffee. We would be there for hours.
Yeah, we were our like many of you out there too. You have friends that they're your therapists.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're good friends, it's a confidentiality that goes on between. And what happens is, again, like you all out there, is that you can't wait to see that friend again because to vent or to listen to them vent.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And what it does is, in my opinion, it does challenge you to learn a balance in your communication. Like, for instance, saying, well, Mark, you should do this. Mark, no. You know what? My opinion. No, the way I would say it is, maybe this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, you should do this, man. Yeah, you're blah, 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 blah. No, is saying something like, there's indirect and direct.
Right.
Right. You can say, well, do this. No, you might consider. Instead of do this.
Right.
Or you should do. No, consider that. Or there's, I heard of this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And this way, because you don't know what you're thinking, the other person's thinking is that, oh man, this guy's coming over as authoritarian.
Right.
I'm too old to be told.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I, to this day, even with my daughters, adult daughters, my children, I use the same mentality. And I used to tell my wife at the time, I says, we got to keep a balance.
Yeah.
Balance meaning that you can't always chew them out.
Right.
Oh, and it's tough being a parent. I cannot imagine. So my point is, and I told my wife that we have to keep a balance because we will chase them away. So
I'm sure that was tough, especially you have two beautiful daughters.
Yeah.
I mean,
thank you.
I grew up, my sister was the oldest, but then I grew up with 4 boys. So I couldn't imagine having, my only 2 children being daughters.
Yeah.
Here's something. My brother Mike, he's the middle child of 5.
Right.
Party animal and everything, and woman. He was the good-looking one. Always had the girls. He's got 4 beautiful daughters now. Like blue eyes, gray eyes. They're all blonde.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just stunning little girls. And I look at my brother now. I was like, man, talk about like
he cleans his shotgun all the time.
And he's not that kind of guy.
Oh.
I'm the one with the shotgun. I'm sure if he knew I had it, he'd ask to borrow it. But
Okay.
The oldest one's probably like a freshman or sophomore in high school.
Right.
But God bless Mike. Like, talk about getting your medicine back right at you.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Could not imagine.
And talking about balance, this is a good example, in my opinion, of with my daughters. First of all, my eldest daughter was freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And this guy wanted to he's senior, take her on a date in a van. Ding!
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I said, you know what?
The eldest daughter, or
Yeah. And what happened was, I says, no, it's what am I going to say? I said, no. Then she started with the makeup and the nails. So what I did as the father, well, first of all, she didn't do that. She didn't go. Or she went to a dance. We sat in the car outside.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we sat in the car and she came on, blah, blah, blah. Or if she went to these functions like Bible schools would have like Wednesday for the kids only, and they have pizza and stuff. And we would sit, because we're her rides, and whatever.
I could see myself taking your perspective. You can go, but I'm waiting outside.
Yeah,
I could see myself doing that.
And see, there's a lot of people out there thinking the same thing, but your age, my age, thinking the same thing. Oh, yeah, that's how it used to be. They'd sit there, or blah, blah, blah. There's a chaperone outside, and this, and then there was more chaperones, You didn't have to worry about the chaperones doing other stuff,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I would buy her nail polish. I would work. Try this. You like this? $1, whatever. And my youngest daughter, she got into the Gothic stuff. Okay.
Oh, did she?
Oh, yeah. And
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
And I didn't protest. I says, you know what I did? I would go buy her black clothes, T-shirts I'd see, black nail polish. I worked with her, not scolding her, but God gave me the opportunity. That was part of the balance.
That was part of the balance.
Instead of saying, no, I said, hey, yeah. Oh, that looks cool, man. And here's a good point is when I was in Artesia, I got called to the school. She was in middle school.
Yeah.
And she was goth, dressed, and it was Halloween.
And I don't know if goth dress is a thing, but it was like a thing for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
all black lipstick, blah, blah,
and
blah.
you know what?
Excuse me.
Those, because that was about my age. My age.
Right.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
and I used to think those girls that were dressed goth, I used to think like, oh, they're cute.
Hey.
So they were punk or they were goth, and they just had a way of dressing that was cute.
Do they still have those now?
I don't.
Rare. They're rare.
Rare. It's rare. Not like
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Avril Lavigne back then, and
Yeah.
like that. Godsmack and all that.
So I walk in, older principal, white guy, and I walk in, and I'm Hispanic, so my daughter Ruiz. Go ahead.
So the principal's there. He has your daughter for whatever reason, and here comes Raul, customs enforcement or border patrol
instructor. I had my instructor.
Did you
polo on my
you
cat?
walk-
Oh yeah, I walk in there. He goes like this. He goes like this. He goes. He saw the devil. He just goes.
I bet.
Oh yeah,
he wasn't expecting that.
No. He heard the name Ruiz. Blah blah blah. No, man. So I walk in there. And I said, nice. So just like you do anything in the job, can you show me in the rules, the regulations, policies, that my daughter is not not the uniform, but the clothing, whatever.
Yeah.
And policy, whatever. And he goes, well, she's got black, blah, blah. And I said, can you show me the violation?
Yeah.
He goes, no. And then I said, okay. I took her. We went to the superintendent's office on the way home. And I stopped there. And, before I left, I said, you know what? You go out to that school. And you got girls with tops up, to, all the
those crop top and everything.
Everything,
Everything hanging out.
And I don't care about, but the thing is, when you single out my girl, my daughter,
yeah,
and he was a Christian, that's a,
okay. So when they saw the goth, they were thinking,
that's the devil.
Yeah, it's the devil.
Yeah.
So Artesia has more in common with Christian East Side, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They relocated, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Years. So anyway, what happened was, so I go to the superintendent's office. The superintendent isn't there, but the assistant, female. And I go, I'm here for that. And then she says, I came to see the policy.
Yeah.
And she goes, we don't have one. But I said, what's wrong with her? I said, what's wrong with my daughter? She has a black pants on. She has a black top. What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
And she didn't know what to say. So I said, okay. She was suspended for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
We get home, and 3 days later, we get a letter in the mail. I open it up, addressed to me, and it apologized what happened, and they removed that day of suspension off her record. I told my daughter that. Yeah. She jumped at me, hugging me. We won, Dad. We won. And I said, that's right. Said, with that, what I'm saying to y'all out there too is that sometimes you have to face the consequences, like take my daughter home.
Yeah.
But then go the route and get the answer.
Yeah.
And I did. And I put them on the spot. If I challenge with the machismo, what are you doing? Blah, blah, I don't win.
No.
It makes the case worse.
It makes it worse.
So being that way.
But you had the background at that point.
Yes, and
you
that's
had the
true.
experience,
Yeah.
the background, the composure.
Yes. Yeah, I still have that. And that's how I raised my daughters. Thank God my former wife and I, she did a good job. I still compliment her for the way she raised them because they're great parents, my two daughters, in my opinion. And the thing is that I do. I have the experience, and to this day, de-escalating life, blah, 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 and communication. But there's sometimes you just have to walk away. But, I could be a jerk too, but rarely. But anyway, so she learned something from that. And to this day, I said, don't argue, And a good example, since we're talking about that, is here in Las Cruces. I witnessed an accident. I had my grandson who was like 4 years old at the time. Yeah. And the police came and I was a witness. He takes my driver's license. So he takes my driver's license and he said, okay, he's writing a report. And he's whatever. And I'm waiting a half hour already. I found out he was a rookie. Okay, big deal. No big deal.
Yeah. So
then I get out of my car and I'm in a safe zone, in a turn lane, and it's closed. Yeah. He has his lights on, and I walk up to him. I said, hey, I need my grandson has to go to the bathroom. Can I get my license back? He pulls his flash. He had his flashlight out. He points the butt of it at me and says, get back in the car. I said, get back in the car.
Really?
And the thing is, what I'm saying this for, I could have been someone that, F you. And then next thing you know, I'm in jail because of his lack of professionalism. Right. So the next day I went to the police department. I did like I said. Yeah. I'm going to follow up on this. And I went to the police department and I told the sergeant, a friend, I knew him anyway. Yeah. And I said, he goes, yeah, we're trying to get them to train this. And I said, I told him, I said, hey, Tom or George, whatever. And I says, that there could have escalated and cost somebody to be arrested for no reason.
If it was not you at that
time.
time.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Because you point that's an aggressive move.
That's aggressive.
Yeah. And reason why I'm talking now is because in 2024, we hear about so many people getting arrested in this. I would say to you, or say to anyone, that 1 minute or 5 seconds, whatever, of machismo is forever in your life.
Forever in your life. Did when you were in Border Patrol, was that something that they trained you on about, like that aggressive stance and knowing how to read that?
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah, was that something that was
But
part
at
of
the
it?
same time, they taught us to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, the checkpoint, yeah, wherever. But you could read it, and then it's self awareness
Yeah.
that you're coming over that way, or you
Right.
got that walk. And a lot of people out there, they could probably tell a veteran, or they could tell law enforcement in
Yeah.
civilian clothes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got that look or something. But getting to, I guess the reason why I'm glad you asked me here is because I could talk one-to-one all the time, but my concern is that if a person out there, man or woman, wants to be aggressive with somebody, road rage especially out here, is...
Oh, I've got a story about
Oh, yeah,
road
okay.
rage. Yeah,
Good. Well,
yeah.
we'll go right into that.
Yeah.
Is think about that little incident. Next thing you know, someone's in jail. Somebody has to pay bonds. Somebody has to pay an attorney. The economy is bad enough. Someone goes to jail. Then the partner's going to be looking for maybe another relationship. I mean, there's a snowball effect.
Huge snowball effect.
Yeah. I say that, and for me, it's upset. Believe me, I'm human, and I get upset. But good example when people I just slow down a little bit. People do the brake thing I used to when I was young. Now I just slow down, or they'll blah, blah, blah. You know what? Here's the thing. Good example about road rage is Chicago. I was up there 4 years when my dad was ill and stuff like that. One time in 4 years, somebody gave me the finger. I come back here within 6 months, 4 people give me the finger.
The nicest place in America.
Yeah, and it's
Mexico.
simple. And because I told this lady, go ahead. I was going to go to show, and I'm in the crosswalk before I crossed it. Yeah, go ahead. And she gives me the finger.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Then another girl. She's in a pickup truck tailgating, so I just pull over real fast in a 2-lane in the side street, whatever. I pull over real fast. She passes by. She has the pickup truck out the window. She gives me the finger.
Oh my God. Okay, so
Yeah, go ahead.
I had to. I get a call from 2 of my managers. I've got 2 different departments in my main building.
Right.
They're like, hey, there's a fight in the parking lot, and the managers had to jump in, and we had some state officials there that went for a cookout that we were having there, and all that good stuff. And one of my field staff, an employee coming by to come pick up his paycheck, and he's what do you call it? He's like going to pick up a paycheck. Maybe a couple streets down before he gets to the parking lot, he makes a turn. He makes he's coming around, and somebody didn't like the way he made a turn and makes a gesture and this and that. Follows that guy into the parking lot. So they're calling me, and I'm like,
Right.
And it's that one time I'm not there, because I'll get in there, I'll yank the 2 guys off like they're like 2 dogs fighting.
Right.
And I was like, what in the heck? And I have access to my cameras on my cell phone. And I'm like, holy sweet Jesus. Random guy. Road rage, pissed off about some other guy's turn, follows them to the parking lot. Employee parks, guy pulls it right behind him, runs right up to his car. The employee steps out of his car, looks at this guy. Guy just shoves him, starts throwing punches.
Really?
Within seconds, and then on the
Excuse
camera,
me.
I see my managers running out there trying to split them up. A lady and a young man, they're trying to split them up, and the guy that was angry, he is just going at it. Hits one of my managers, and
man,
and just like something simple, like didn't like the way he cut in or something like that, and starts throwing punches and swings. They call the police, but he gets in his vehicle, he takes off.
Right.
But good Lord.
I got one.
What the hell?
Okay, a lot of you, do they write comments and stuff?
I've gotten 1 or 2 comments only.
Okay.
We're pretty young on the podcast scene.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
so
okay.
if you like to leave a comment, give us a like. It helps. Please leave a comment.
And also, later on in the program, we'll give you an address so you could send us coupons. And anyway, road rage, I met this woman. I did some photography.
Hold on.
Yeah, finish that.
Was road rage a thing long time ago? Like,
No.
was, like in the 80s, was there ever such a thing as road rage?
Not even in the 60s. Yeah, I'm old.
I mean,
in the old days,
in the
80s
old days,
or
I mean,
60s.
I remember I was in the 90s when I first started driving, but I
No.
don't remember anything
No.
called road rage.
Okay, here's my opinion about that. First of all, I think social media, the internet, and all of that has a strong part of it. Number one, because I'm going to tell you straight out. I don't know how I'm divorced and I'm single, and I don't know how people are in a relationship now.
Yeah.
Because you could see when we were growing up, the grass is always greener on the other side.
yeah.
Well, now with the internet and social media, there's too many lawns out there for the person to say,
There's
well,
too many ones.
yeah.
Talk about keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You see what other people have, and
Well, here's the thing. Getting back to road rage, he said, well, what my mentality, and it comes from my law enforcement experience, and my mentality is that I would like to share is that right now, the way the economy, blah, 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 the job, everything.
2 bags of groceries costing $120.
Well, that driver is elevated here,
and
and
it all
he's
adds.
looking to vent.
Yeah.
And that punching, he may think he's punching his boss or, he's punching that person, but the anger is transferred to the first person that he feels pissed him off.
And if it happens to be the driver out there,
Oh, yeah.
that's like that trigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of trigger, I had a friend. Anyway, we met, and then I said, hey, how's it going? Somehow we got on road rage.
Yeah.
And she said, the other side, she, 55-year-old woman, she was over on Amador somewhere, and Anglo and the Hispanic guy yells at her. And she says she didn't know what she did, and she never talked back to him. She's very low-key. And so she's driving, and she says, she was scared then because the guy's still yelling. He's in his 30s. And she goes from Amador and Valley to Hobby Lobby, parks her car, and he parks
About a
his
mile.
car.
Wow. That's over a mile away.
Oh, yeah. He gets out of his car at daytime, and he says, gets out of his car and says, you're lucky I have my son with me, or I would shoot you. Oh, yeah. People heard. They called the cops, but they didn't show
what a comment to make.
Yeah, and my point is, she said, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, this is new to her. She only sees this stuff on TV. And the point is, 2 things. How many times has he done that? Number one. Number 2.
But I mean,
Go ahead.
he, like, you talk about that distance. It's got to be like 2 miles at least.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it's a straight drive. So he's following, and if I don't know how you are when you're driving. When I'm driving, I so notice people that are behind me.
Yeah.
And if I notice the guy is tailing me for 2 miles, in my mind, I'm already like,
Yeah, right?
I don't know where I picked that up at, so I don't know if she's aware of that. But if she's aware, if she's a female, she's aware.
Oh, yeah, she was because he was angry with her and she recognized the car. So
so she's probably freaking out.
Yeah, yes.
Like I say, it's a good 2 miles.
Yeah. This is a person that just sees flowers, coffee, and peaceful times, and all of a sudden you get this crazy man yelling at you, and then you see him following you, and then whether she thought she was going to get inside the store in time or something, but he came out and told her that, and there's that getting back to that 5 minutes of machismo.
Yeah.
He could have lost his son because endangerment.
Oh yeah.
If he did have a permit for the gun, he loses that, or he gets a criminal hit.
If the gun's in his vehicle and it's what do you call that? It's concealed without license. Oh, good Lord! Like, I mean, it could have gone really bad for that guy if he wasn't careful. Dude, how good is having a good cigar?
And
like,
talking,
like. That one I gave you, that Oliva, it's a nice medium. It's a really easy smoke.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the sweet one. When you try this one, are you smoking it? No.
No, I'm having mine still.
And getting back to the road rage, though, there was one time this lady, I blocking the intersection, and I tried to move up, but the guy, it looked like he was in a move, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't block it all the way. And she's yelling at me, and she's going to make the left turn. And you know what I told her?
What's that?
I love you. She looks at me like,
She had no.
and that was like 6 years ago. To this day, she's probably, ¿Dónde está? Where is he, my
Man,
love?
I mean,
she hasn't heard that in 20 years.
Talk about instant de-escalation. Did you ever see that? I heard it's like a police training video now, and maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. I was watching this police video of a cop that pulls over a gentleman in a truck, and he's telling that he's saying, "Sir, stay in your vehicle, stay in your vehicle," and this guy gets out of his vehicle with a very aggressive stance. Sir, keep your hands where I can see him. And this cop, you could see this cop was like totally like, the guy who pulled him over was next level. And this guy comes up to the cop and he's angry and he goes back to his truck and he opens his truck. Sir, do not do that.
Right.
Like keep your hands where I can see him. And this guy reaches into his vehicle, pulls out a gun. He's like, "Sir, put your gun down." And he's yelling commands at this guy. And this cop was like too afraid to draw on him. And the guy pulls it and he kills the cop. Shoots him point blank, kills him. And how
long ago was this?
I don't know, but I heard it. I heard it was a train. They use it as a training video
exactly
now, because it's like the perfect thing of not what to do, of controlling the situation. Did that ring a bell at all to you, or anything like that?
The training, yeah. There was an incident on the internet, of course, around 6-7 years ago. They had it filmed, of course. They had it recorded. And it was one of those things where they killed the guy, the bad guy, or the victim. Anyway, so what happens is they show another angle. The two white cops are talking to a black guy. And somewhere, whether the recording or because they heard his saying, when he said, "Well, I got a gun and I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. I mean, you're not going to draw your gun, but at least what happened, long story short, they followed him around to his car to let him get in his car, and they shot him in the back.
The cops did, or?
Oh, yeah, he got shot in the back when he reached into the car. Wow. My point is, I don't know, allegedly that people use that term, but they show it on the thing. Okay, my perspective from training is that, in my opinion, when he said, "I got a gun and I'm going to kill you," before he even acts overtly, I have to take him down. Me personally.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather take the heat for a broken nose that he fell.
It's almost no choice, right?
Yeah. And well, look what happened. And he only had a knife under the seat or something. I'm not going to do.
We can't
criminal. Yeah. But the thing is, even though I wasn't there, but I saw it, and I saw. Because my training, the partner was like,
he was freaking
frozen.
out.
Oh yeah, he what should have happened. Go ahead.
Just this week or last week, holy smokes! They had the video already online. It came out in the news.
Yeah.
A kid throws like an acorn at a cop. A cop came to a scene. He was called to a scene or something, and a kid throws like an acorn, and it hits the top of the cop car. And it makes that pop sound. That pop.
Yeah.
And the cop draws his gun and starts firing. Shots fired. He starts shooting like I don't know what he was shooting at. And I'm trying to think of where this was at. And I just read this today.
Really?
Oh, and the cop starts shooting wildly. Shots fired. And then he like trips and falls or something. And he yells, "I'm hit. I'm hit," and he empties his clip. And finally, when the clip empties, somebody runs, like some people are yelling at him, and he's, "Stay where you are, shots fired." And he's on the radio, "Shots fired," and they're yelling at him, "Nobody's shooting. And he kind of gets up and he's like, I'm hit," and he's like, you could tell he's like, "Okay, I'm not hit."
Yeah.
And it turns out like say some kids were throwing acorns and it hit his car, and it freaked him out. And he starts shooting wildly. He immediately resigned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he found out that, in my opinion, again, is, other academies I've been to, whether it was MP school or Border Patrol Academy.
Were you an MP also?
Oh, yeah. I re-enlisted and became an MP. And that was in the early 70s. He was still being an MP.
Was MP school still in Hawaii?
No.
My buddy went to MP school in Hawaii.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know. I went in Georgia, from McClellan, Alabama. But anyway, getting back to that story about the shooting is, again, it's always, people say Monday morning quarterback, but being a trainer, I consider, well, I did, is these would be the scenarios that you critique that probably is being used.
Yeah.
And that, first of all, they didn't have the interview stance. One, I'm talking to you, but the partner's on one side. Yeah. And if you move, it's like a clock.
So you guys kind of have like a certain motion.
You're not both there, flat-footed, standing in front of the guy. No, one's flanking him.
So one almost flanks him to be in like the optimal position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they used to tell you, the people talk about an aggressive stance, but field interview stance. Yeah. 1 foot back before the other. So if they push you, your weight, you could absorb it better. You won't fall over. So when they chased him around, and the point is, in my opinion, he should never have gotten to that door.
Yeah.
Because he went from the back of his vehicle all the way around and opened his door and leaned in, and they shot him in the back.
They should have never given him the opportunity to get there.
And if it did get there, what you do is just throw your body on him.
So if there was 2 cops, and if they would have positioned themselves correctly, they almost would
block him in.
Uh-huh.
But again, people would say, well, that's Monday morning quarterbacking. But again,
but you have to though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. For the next training. And the thing is, my point is, so many things in one thing is that first of all, there's policies about drawing guns.
Yeah.
And everybody's under the microscope, and everybody's like,
But you're under the microscope more now than, say, like in your days.
Yeah, in my day, yeah. So the point is, sadly, everybody's career went down. And whose fault is it? Is it the training? Is it the this or that? I'll be honest with you. In my opinion, first of all, the stance, number one. Maybe that there itself could have been a deterrent.
Right.
Or seeing the second police officer with that face of...
Like reading your partner.
No, having no confidence.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Working the checkpoints or working MPs, and it's this.
Yeah.
I remember in the MPs, it's your uniform.
Yeah.
That's the non-verbal communication.
It projects the authoritarian.
Yeah, that you got your shit together.
Yeah, you have your shit together.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so the bad guy is trained too to look for these things.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, blah, blah, you should have, or when you chased him back there, tackle him while you're chasing, because that's an overt move, an aggressive move, blah, blah, blah. And they, or when he's reaching in, you're at close quarters, my opinion, you grab him by the belt, pull him back, or you flop on him. It's always easier he got a broken nose or you were aggressive, but he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Yeah. And I've done things where, sometimes I wouldn't let them know, and I just lunge at them because the checkpoint, we had a bunch of marijuana in the car at 2 a.m.
Yeah. And
he didn't know I saw it, or I blah, blah, blah. And then finally I saw it, and I didn't, before I even told him I saw it, he was tall. Everybody's taller than me and younger. So anyway, I got him against the vehicle and stuff. Huh?
You showed me a picture once.
Uh-huh.
I think it was you were in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And you guys did a bust.
Give me a get like.
Oh yeah, go for it, man. And there was like there was bricks and bricks of marijuana. There was a picture of you in that picture of a guy you made. And first of all, it was like a young badass you.
Actually, I was working on a drug team at Fort Campbell.
Was that Fort Campbell?
And I had my little 38, and I got a plaid shirt on. Mm-hmm. Is that the one?
I think so.
Yeah, and I had the suitcase of marijuana and stuff.
No, there was like a lot.
Oh, really?
There was a picture. You were kind of like kneeling down.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
And I remember like, it was like a badass picture. I
was like 20, 21 years old.
You look like you were the shit in that picture. But then there was like, it was like a big bust, right?
Mm-hmm. You know what?
What's that?
We could go so many stories, but here's the thing, folks. I'll be back. No, I
have to ask you this because this kind of comes to mind. Was there ever that one scary situation where you think back on and it's like, man, things could have gone sideways?
Those of people out there that have friends or family in law enforcement and the law enforcement folks out there, you cannot have that feeling.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean,
I wouldn't have done all
like in hindsight though. Did you ever have that one scary situation like in hindsight? Like
there was a couple that when I was young.
Yeah,
and we busted
because when you were young, you don't care. You're just full of what is it? Young, dumb, and full of cum.
Oh, I did some stuff, man. I did TV stuff. We're doing it, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, like TV, like cop.
They're trying to break into the front door of the trailer with a warrant, and we're worried about the guy flushing, and I could hear him running in the thing. I'm at the back door. I break the window with my .38 and open the door.
You don't know what's going to happen when that happens. Yeah.
I could even cut my wrist.
Oh, yeah. Like glass cut.
But I was like 21, 22 years old, hot dog,
Yeah.
And hindsight, I don't know, maybe I would. You don't think about, it's just drugs or this and that.
Yeah.
It still happens today. People do things, that whether it's hot dog or whatever.
Yeah,
it's the moment. And then there's been others that...
I have one dying question for you. I've been dying to ask you because you were at Border Patrol, right? Mm-hmm. You're in the South. You're New Mexico, the desert.
Right.
Big sky. New Mexico, beautiful land, big sky. When it's out, it's dark. When it's dark, it's dark.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like to go into the fringe too much. You know what I mean? The fringe. I don't like to go in the fringe too much because it's not a fringe show, but every now and then I like to get into the fringe show, the fringe stuff. But when I was working when I left Starbucks, I worked for an import deli meat and cheese company.
Yeah, I remember.
And I would be driving on the roads at midnight between Albuquerque and Las Cruces. And I can tell you about things I saw in the sky back then that I could not explain. Like straight, there's stuff you see out there in the night, and it's like, okay, you could tell what it is.
Yeah.
But I can think of like a number of things I saw in the sky that I cannot explain for the life of me. Did you ever have any of that out there?
Oh, yeah.
Because you
were at Border Patrol?
You were out in the desert, in the middle of nowhere at night.
Well, if you're asking me if I saw aliens, two-legged ones. No.
Did you have one of those experiences where you saw like a light or something out there and you're like, what in the hell was that? Because I know I have. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I saw it, can't explain it. I could tell you what I've seen. Did you ever have any of those experiences out there like that in the middle of the
Not while on the job.
Not
while
on
the job, but traveling out there in the desert, dark, just no full moon.
You see everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I even called my father one time. I was going from Albuquerque the back way to Roswell to Artesia.
Yes.
That's
like you go through like Carrizozo and Vaughn and talk about a lonely road in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And I saw stuff in the sky.
What did you see? I'm just curious.
There was a red light that kept. It was, I thought, that's just one of those poles. That
you think,
yeah, the red lights on them. And no, but when it started moving, and I'm like, I wasn't afraid. It was just like, is this happening?
Is this happening? Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're so close to Roswell. I was like, they're just going home. No, I've seen that. And talk about the night, okay? Yeah. What happened was, the sensor goes off by the checkpoint. It's midnight. It's always dark.
Yeah.
And I walk down the side and the mesquite trees by me. First of all, when they say scared the hell out of me, scared the poop out of me, your hair stands up.
Yeah.
I walked down the mesquite. The brush was on my left. I remember this. And the birds fly out of there. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I'm not kidding you. I felt like it was one of the Three Stooges.
Oh, I bet. I
didn't pull my gun or anything, but I was like, I knew there were birds and stuff, and a whole bunch of them.
But it's pitch dark out there.
Right. And man,
I could tell you, a funny story. Like in the roads of New Mexico, one story that's spooky. A friend of mine had a serval, and they lost their license to keep a serval. A serval is like a large cat. It's bigger than your house cat, but it's smaller than like a lion. But they're very you can't keep them without like a certain license to keep them because if they get loose in the neighborhood, it'll kill all the cats and dogs. It'll kill everything.
Yeah.
And they're funny cats because when they meow, they do this weird thing that goes. It's like very haunting. And they have big ears.
Oh, okay, okay.
And they're actually pretty big cats. Wow. They're not like lions or tigers, but they're pretty big cats, and they smell. So they lose their license, so we had to take the serval to a serval rescue, like on the other side of Arizona, like going into Nevada.
Okay.
And they had a big open reserve, and they had a bunch of servals and cat, like bunches of them. And I was doing them a favor, and I was pissed about it. Like, I'm gonna drive. I was like, okay, I'll help you, but God damn, I got to drive all the way across the desert. I got to get there, get back. I got to be back at work, and they were like begging me to do. Like, ugh. And there's two of them, and they're in the cages in my back seat. And the whole way they're doing that thing that servals do, where they're just all, and you're just like, oh. So we're coming back down 40. And before you get to Albuquerque, there's a bypass that cuts across Los Lunas to get back to I-25. Talk about a dark road.
Oh, yeah.
2-lane state highway, dark road. And my friends crashed out asleep in the passenger seat. I'm in my little Kia, a little car. And I'm just at that point where I'm like, 2 a.m, you're tired and all that. And then suddenly, out of the blue, on that bypass between I-40 and I-25, I see a woman dressed in all white on the side of the road. 2 a.m,
Oh,
all
yeah.
white.
Yeah.
All white. And and it was really quick.
Uh-huh.
And the way I tell you, it sounds like you had like a lot of time to see her, but I didn't. But I'm seeing this, I can't believe it.
Oh, wow.
And she steps right into the road. And I drive right through her.
Oh, yeah.
And I just like, all the hair stands up, and I can feel it going right by. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And my friend wakes up, and my friend's like, hey, what's wrong? Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, I have no explanation. I mean, talk about like a weird.
I believe in the paranormal.
I mean.
Oh, yeah, that kind of stuff.
But that's totally New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, or, you know what? Maybe we'll save these ghost stories for the next time.
Yeah.
Oh, because I got a bunch of them, too.
Oh, I'm sure. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
You were like on those roads. It's dark. I'm sure you have like a lot of stories.
Oh, about ghost
or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And so that's the thing. When's your next show?
Whenever you want.
Oh, I mean, but so the people could. Here's the thing. So we're going to talk about mystery, and the mystery starts by not telling you what we're going to talk about.
So I'm trying to keep up now with one every week or every 2 weeks now.
Right.
So we'll do another one here soon. We can do whatever we want, but
but getting back to what were we talking about? The road rage, that part,
yeah, cops and like dealing with the stress and all that.
Yeah. So, getting to that, there was
being professional when like the kid throwing the acorns on that cop car, and he pulls his gun and he freaks out.
You know a good example of that?
What's that?
I was working a checkpoint by White Sands, 1985, 86, Christmas. Before Christmas, and his bus pulls up.
I don't think people know. Like coming up from El Paso on the I-10 corridor.
Yeah.
That's a lot of drugs were coming through there.
Oh, yeah. When it was 2 lanes.
So, okay. So with I-10, that corridor from El Paso, Juarez, El Paso coming up north, is that like in like Border Patrol, was that like a big corridor, like kind of like a lot of stuff coming up through there?
Oh, yeah. Either, the best way of saying it, speaking of corridor, there was I forgot the pipeline, or there used to be a term back then, Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
Boy, they were making a lot of bust.
Yeah.
That they got by the checkpoints and everything.
They'd get through here.
Oh, yeah. And they would make a lot of bust. We would hear about it. The pipeline drug, I forgot what they call. But, working there. This is a funny story. Border Patrol funny story. Bus pulls up daytime. I get on there. There's a bunch of Navy guys from Boot or Navy camp, whatever.
Yeah.
Going to wherever, I get on the bus and I ask, hey, what's up? Merry Christmas. I get off the bus. I have the smoky hat on, winter. I have my tie, and I'm walking back to the trailer.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
And boom, a snowball hits the back of my hat.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, this is at the checkpoint in White Sands?
I'm on duty and everything.
Highway 70.
Highway 70. So, do I get mad? No. I go, I'm going to get these guys. It hit my head, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm going to fuck with these guys.
Yeah.
So I get on the bus. And I said, somebody just assaulted a federal agent.
Wow.
And then I go,
Wow.
who threw the snowball?
Wait, you said a bus?
Yeah, it was a charter bus with all Navy guys.
Oh, God.
Out of camp. So I go, who threw the snowball? And so then, and everybody's like, oh, it's quiet. And I said, if I don't find out who threw the snowball, this bus is not going anywhere.
And you as a border patrol, you have the power to say you're not moving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I got assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was toying with them, but it was military too, so I understood.
Yeah.
They're in a hurry. It's Christmas. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This guy's not going to let us go home. Oh, they're just out of,
Yeah.
And finally, they coughed up the guy.
Oh, yeah.
It was one guy he was trying to impress them. He was probably the smallest, skinniest guy to show maybe that he's a badass. And threw a snow. How could you be that stupid?
How could you be that stupid?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then I tell him, I get his name, and I says, here's what you do. I'm going to let all of you go, but I have your name. I'm going to call your commander where you're going. You better go and confess what you did and that you got a break for Christmas. Your commander will take action after that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know anything. But I tell you what, that guy's, he's probably in his 60s talking about me.
No kidding. No kidding. Did you follow up with it at all?
Oh,
no. You were just messing with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet.
I had fun.
I bet at that moment he had a load of bricks in his pants.
Oh, he was a white guy. He got whiter.
Oh my God!
They always talk about law enforcement, and people out there are listening that are law enforcement, we're law enforcement, or family members. They hear all these stories, and it's bad stuff. There's so many funny things we see.
Yeah.
We joke with each other. Play. One of the things at the checkpoint, maybe there's some Border Patrol agents listening, former, is remember you see on TV the shoe polish?
Yeah.
Well, that was the ink polish we had for fingerprinting the old days.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would tell the guys we were leaving. He says, "Oh yeah, well, we got a report of a vehicle down the road and stuff." 10 minutes later, okay, we're gonna get you. What happened was we put fingerprint on the binoculars.
Oh yeah.
And they put them up to their face.
Did you guys really do that?
Yeah. Or the phone. We would get back to the station and call them, and I'd have it on the phone.
Oh my God! I've heard of that. I have never actually met anybody that's actually done that.
People would be paranoid to answer the phone.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, man. Guys would get in the car and your blue light or your lights. We were driving down the highway. We didn't know the lights were on, and people and we're going, yeah, friendly people. Your lights are on. Yeah, people out there, they know that it's different now.
I wanted to go there. Like, I mean, you're retired. You're civilian now.
Yeah.
How has it changed now, in your opinion?
Well, even though people have uniforms on, they are still part of a certain generation of growing in.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my opinion. Here's what I see, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how it was back then, but it seems like every time there's a change of POTUS, President of the United States,
right,
it seems like every time there's a change of POTUS, the mission of the Border Patrol changes.
Oh yeah,
like drastically. And I know that because you and I live in Las Cruces, which is an hour away from Mexico.
Right.
So there's a lot of guys that live in this area in the Border Patrol, and you get to know them. I know a couple of them really, really well, and they tell me like I could say I started paying attention to at the late from the George Jr.
Yes.
to Obama to Trump to now. I think that's how the presidents have been.
Right.
And my colleagues or my good friends actually that have told me they always tell me how the mission has changed every time there's a new president. Mm-hmm. Was it always like that in your days?
No, but here's the thing. Think of what you just said, and DHS took over immigration at that time where it gave the federal government, in my opinion, they came under the Treasury, blah, blah, blah. DOJ, Department of Justice, it was all one little pocket. Nobody knew what immigration was doing for the most part. And the commissioners, that was a position of SES 17 or whatever. It was a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You could come from the Department of Education and become a commissioner.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't, not many commissioners came from the street. I mean, from the field. So my point is now, when it switched, I saw it when it switched to DHS and DHS, and you'll see sometimes that in my opinion, the HCIs or whatever agents. HCI, what did I say?
You said DOH, but.
Oh, did I?
Or Department of Justice.
Yeah. Okay, you see, you're drinking and I'm not. So, and in my opinion, that they are used for other things too.
Yeah.
We were just focused on one thing.
You knew the mission. It was very clear.
Yeah.
It was very clear at that time.
And we had...
And so maybe before you, in all the years before you, that of the history of Border Patrol, it was a very defined mission of border protection, immigration, and whatnot.
And probably mentality. Oh, those are just cowboys out there.
Yeah.
That the old West and nobody... Well, social media, everything's amplified now,
Right.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm trying to think about that. So 9/11 happens, and during 9/11, there was a thing about coordination of law enforcement information that changed. That right hand wasn't talking to left hand.
Right.
So probably like Border Patrol, which I think probably that's about the time it became ICE, in Immigration Customs Enforcement.
Yeah, in 2003, that's when the transition started. I retired in 2005, and I didn't feel that because it was still growing and learning, and I was at the academy. And so I didn't feel that, but I hear people from the field talking about the supervisors were customs, and they didn't know about immigration. Well, you know how that thing, and there's always transition things, and with change, again, is that, in my opinion, is that social media, the internet, all of that amplified all of this. For instance, and the violence really picked up from when I was in.
Well, I mean, everything from Mexico that spilled over here.
Yeah,
2005.
And no matter what country. And the thing is, what happened is you got away with it. But then the upbringing too.
Yeah.
Whatever country, whether they learn that, maybe there's a different leader, there's a different education of how they were brought up. So anywhere look, you have people in Russia, they're demonstrating or had riots, places where you didn't do that stuff.
Yeah.
But you see it a lot now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's those things of, just like you asked about what's the difference, in my opinion, with law enforcement, is it's just different. We were under training of World War II veterans.
Okay, yeah.
Vietnam veterans.
A different level of professionalism.
Yeah, that was passed along to us. Yeah. And I had MP instructors that your uniform is the blah, 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 this. You learn how to have confidence. And if not, they weeded them out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Now, back then, jump school, anything I did, they weeded them out. Even in basic training, if you couldn't do this. Okay, well, you know what? I see people, they would just like, because whether it's whatever thing they have, or constant sick, they would recycle, they get them out or blah, blah, blah. And I saw now it's tough to weed out anybody.
I mean, if you're in federal government, they rarely fire people.
Yeah. Well, especially in the beginning. Now as far as the military, let's get to that. And what happens is, and there's a lot of folks my age, your age, that the military was different. We always hear that. But you know what? Any job's different now.
Every job's different now.
There's no loyalty, in my opinion. I would be sick and feeling bad, but I would go to work. I had another job in Chicago, and that's another story. But out of 3 years, I only called off twice.
Yeah.
Because I felt, but I was sick. I had heat exhaustion. My blood pressure went up, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't go in. But I had this obligation. I didn't owe him anything as far as that, but it was my way I was raised in my career. So I built that to this day. I mean, I could have one of the crappiest jobs, but I'm still going to do it because when I worked for you.
Yeah.
I still did it.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever called off when I worked for you.
No, you didn't. And you know what? As in my role as leadership, I might show up late, might go in a little. I still show up, and if I feel like crap, I'm there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we come from a different time.
Yeah.
I tend to think my generation, that's when things really changed.
That was the last. Yeah.
We were the kids of the Vietnam vets, the Korean vets.
Yes. And my daughter, she was 16. She was working at Kmart. She got a job maybe a week.
Kmart.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And she says, hey, Dad, can you call in for me that I'm sick? And here's what I did. I said, are you sick? No. Well, I'm not calling in. You call in, you're sick, whatever, you lose your job. I don't know, whatever, but I'm not going to help you.
Wow.
She went to work.
Wow.
And she had some good work ethics.
Yeah.
Graduated from college and everything. Proud of her. Oh, yeah. They, people say, I think my career in law enforcement from the military and stuff, it helped me raise our children.
I'm sure.
Back then, we supported each other. My former wife, I was just like you hear, wait till your father gets home. Well,
Was your generation when that changed, when mothers were still at home being mothers, taking care of kids, or did your wife already start working at that point?
She was working off and on. See, traveling and moving and stuff, but she had some good jobs, and then she just went, other jobs, but then she didn't have to go to work, and she went to school. The best way of saying it is somebody would say, well, no, I had nothing to do with her progressing.
Yeah.
I was the encourager.
Sure, yeah.
And that's fine, whatever, it's in the back, and I won't talk about that part, but compared to now, I'm going to tell you the truth, what's going on, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an enemy of social media because it has its good parts.
We could talk about social media. I mean, I've really gone deep on this whole social media thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, just like 2 weeks ago, Facebook and X and Instagram and all of that. Instagram's owned by Facebook, but they were at congressional hearings again.
Really?
And a congressman was asking them, do you think kids should be on social media? And Mark Zuckerberg was saying, well, if they're 13 years and younger, we really, we want to make it educational for them. And he's like, do you think kids that are younger than 13? He's like, well, not really. What about from 14 to 17? Should they be on social media? And again, these people from the social media is like, well, we try to make it useful for them. So when they get on, that's useful for them. And he goes, no. Do you think 14 and 17-year-olds should be on social media as much as they are? And of course, nobody from the social media is answering him, Zuckerberg especially. He's like, well, again, we're trying to make it useful for them to be on there. And he's totally skirting the answer. And nobody's saying, no, kids shouldn't be on social media. And I brought this up on our last show, but another congressman, and I can't think of his name. I really like this guy. He asked, it was Zuckerberg again. Because Zuckerberg represents not just Facebook, but Instagram.
Okay.
And Elon Musk, of course, with X, formerly Twitter. And they were asking about Facebook and with child pornography.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, we went on your social media and we looked up things regarding kids. Mm-hmm. And I have to think about this now, but he says things that shouldn't be on social media.
Right.
And he says, when we looked it up, a pop-up window came up, and it says the things you are looking up is like explicit of nature, regarding children and whatnot.
Right.
And your pop-up window gave the user two options.
Right. Okay.
One option is click here for other resources regarding like child pornography and all that. Mm-hmm. And the other option was continue on. And Mark Zuckerberg's like, well, yeah, we want to give them options, like, let them know that there's options, there's treatment, there's help for people that are in child pornography and all that. He goes, yeah, but how is click here to continue on still an option? Why would that even be an option?
Right.
And they had no answer for that. It's like, if you can identify something on social media as child pornography or child endangerment, how is it an option for you to continue on? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is everybody out there, we see certain things, even on one social media or another, that you have these. Oh, I get pop-ups where one person's playing golf, one this, one that. Then you have people dancing, and you could tell they're different ages.
Oh yeah.
And to my opinion, I'm a grandfather, I'm a parent, and stuff like that, and you could tell they're underage.
Oh,
and they're
obviously.
dancing provocatively.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you have no guard on that social media where a pedophile is blocked.
You have no guard.
No guard. And what's happening is that it's open. What was I going to say? It's an open window for a voyeur, an open window for a pedophile.
Yeah.
That's trying. He's on medication or she's on medication. Blah 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 blah. So it's how would you say it? But what's the answer?
I don't know what the answer is.
Well, the answer is, because I've seen some where you may have seen some when you're flashing through them, and then all of a sudden they make a joke because the mother comes in and smacks the kid.
Yeah.
You've seen that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dancing.
Yeah.
But they wear, and believe me, I don't just like, no. I see that. I'm like, the other thing is too, the bottom line, honestly, is, first of all, I think of my daughters and my
I don't want daughters on top of that.
Yeah, see, I don't want to see that. And
Yeah.
and again, when I see growing up, a good example, we were at an amusement park, my two daughters and I, and in Hershey Park, and we saw the kids getting out of. They went in there. They had regular swimsuits, the girls, 14, 15.
Yeah.
They come out and they have these bikinis on, small. My daughters tell me, Dad, you wouldn't let us go out like that. I said, no way.
Oh, no way.
And there was a couple of guys, and I was watching them. They're like waiting, and they saw me. I'm retired, but I still, I watch. And so, and it happens today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it happened when we were growing up. The parents, she got the long dress on, or the guy got this or that. And, all of a sudden, I danced with this girl in 8th grade. She had rolled her dress up. I didn't know I grabbed her, and it was the roll of the dress. So I understand. I'm not one of those ogres. An old guy says, "Oh yeah, I did stuff."
Well, my niece, my brother's oldest daughter, but she was a little kid.
Yeah.
Probably like middle school. Really pretty, blonde, blue-eyed, like really pretty little girl. And at the time she was getting on Instagram, she'd do these Instagram lives. And I'd see her on, so I'd go on there like, hey, what's going on, blah, blah. And she'd go, hey, and she was, they have these things on Instagram where you could chat and all that. And I noticed there's some guys on there chatting with her. And I was starting to check out these profiles of these guys talking with my niece. And some of them were like older guys. And so she's chatting away, and I'm just kind of monitoring the conversation. So I didn't jump off at that point. I'm like, who's talking
Where's
to
this
my
going?
niece? Yeah. And so I don't know how long it lasted. It didn't last more than 10, 15 minutes. But as soon as it ended, I got on the phone and I messaged my brother. I was like, who are these men messaging my niece on Instagram when she's when she's doing her Instagram lives? And it wasn't like the next day her account was deleted.
Good. See, that's a good parent. And I'm not saying there's bad parents, but some parents don't know.
I mean, okay, my brother, great guy, and his wife, great person.
And he had a family member that was looking out.
Yeah, I mean, had I not been in the social media, though, as much as because my other brothers aren't in the social media, so had I not picked up on it and say like, hey, my niece is online, and kind of say like, who are these guys messaging her? And
if you didn't say something, like you said, number one, how long has this been going on, and what's the next time escalating?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what happens. It'll escalate.
Yeah. What time is it?
Oh, I know. Like, it's 9:30.
Really?
Time flies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing we used to talk at Starbucks, man. Time flies.
But back then it was just over a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Well, now you can't smoke it outside of a Starbucks.
Well,
you're not supposed to.
I have mixed feelings about
just like texting.
I have mixed feelings.
No,
about
I
that.
understand. Oh yeah, yeah. Because I'm smoking a cigar, and if people, go ahead.
You know what? For me, when I smell cigarette smoke, I think of my dad.
Oh wow, yeah. That's
We
interesting.
we were 4 little boys in my dad's F100, 1978, 79 Brown F100, and I mean none of this would fly today. But 4 little boys with my dad in the cab, nobody has their seatbelt on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
At 3 in the morning going to the tortilla shop. So you have your kids out at 3 in the morning, and I remember the cops pulling my dad over a couple of times, and he would be smoking already, at 3 in the morning, and the cab's full of smoke with 4 little kids.
Yeah, yeah.
The cop would pull over and the smoke would be spilling
Bellow
out the
out,
window.
yeah.
And I mean, nowadays you have that much smoke in a car with a kid. You have what do they call it?
Endangerment or something?
Endangerment or
Yeah.
something like that. Much less without seatbelts.
Oh, yeah,
Without anything. And I'll never forget it. Look, whenever there was a new cop on the rotation, my dad would always get pulled over at 3 in the morning going to the tortilla shop because we grew up making tortillas.
Right.
And cop pulls over my dad. He's like, "Sir, routine stop, whatever. 3 in the morning, blah blah blah."
Yeah, I've been stopped for that. The tail light. Oh, it works. But anyway, go ahead.
My dad's pissed. What in the hell is your problem? Well, it's just a routine, sir. Stop. I come here every morning at 3 in the morning with my boys. And there we are, four little kids in a cab full of smoke so thick you can't see in front of you. And my dad lecturing a cop.
Marine. A Marine.
Marine.
Yeah.
Former Marine.
Yeah, yeah.
He was not salty.
Well, like they say, once a Marine, always
Always
a
a
Marine.
Marine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He was not green at all.
Wow.
Yeah, but you do that now.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is, I grew up in the era of officer friendly.
What does that mean?
That means that the police were community. One of the classes I took in college was community policing. They would have the cops walking, the beat. They would stop at the stores. I knew the cops walking the beat.
Was that kind of along the philosophy of to serve and protect, where
Yes,
you serve
yes,
first
yes,
and
yes.
you were in the community?
Right. And you could tell, matter of fact, me growing up, the cops, they would tell you, they'd swear at you, say, hey, get the, and I'm going to be honest, I give a lot of credit to the Chicago cops back in the 60s with me. The best way of saying it, in a mild way, scared straight.
Yeah.
To do the right, and excuse me, but I knew I wanted to get in law enforcement and blah, blah, blah. In 8th grade, I knew.
Yeah. You knew already.
Oh, yeah. And you know why? I grew up in the 60s. You know why I wanted to be in law enforcement?
Why is that?
James Bond.
Really? James Bond?
Yes, I wanted to.
I was thinking either James Bronson or Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, with that, Clint Eastwood, I want to be a cowboy. But
speaking of which, both World War II veterans.
Oh, yes.
Bronson. I mean, I don't remember the details. I'd have to Google it. He had an interesting military career during the war.
Was he? One of them was like a B-17 belly gunner. I don't know, but he had a tough job. I'm like, holy cow!
I want to say that was Bronson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google that Bronson.
Yeah.
Military,
and did you know he had a phobia? That even when he did the movie The Great Escape, when he's digging that out, oh yeah, he had a phobia
of being in the tunnels.
Right. And see, I bet you he was a belly gunner.
Bronson first name, was it James?
No, Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. There we go. I mean, talk about like an iconic actor.
Yeah. We could go. People are like, man, they're bouncing all over. We talk so much. We have a lot of experience between us, and we like history. We like movies. So, you know what? Share the word with your friends, y'all listening or watching, is that we're going to get together again, talking, and we're going to talk about ghost stories. We're going to talk about baseball, other things that these are teasers.
I don't remember the story of Johnson, but I remember when Charles Bronson, when I heard his story, I remember how impressive.
I did too.
Army gunner. He's the 11th of 15 children.
Oh
wow! Hold on, I want to go back. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1943, serving as an aircraft gunner in the 760th Flexible Gunnery Training Squadron. He became a Super Fortress crewman in the 39th Bombardment Group, based in Guam. assigned to a B-29 flying on 25 missions.
Yeah.
Eventually was awarded a Purple Heart for wounds received during his service and left the military in 46. I remember that part. This doesn't go into details, but I remember there's something really super notable about his service in the Super Flying Fortress.
Right. And would impress me. That's why I think about that when he was a belly gunners are just like door gunners in Vietnam.
Dude.
They were the mortality rate was high.
High.
Yeah. And that's why I'm thinking that phobia maybe.
From being in that little ball
Yeah. Oh yeah. That. And one time I was here in town watching a parade, Veterans Day parade, and the jackets, the three honor flight, they get the yellow jacket.
Yeah.
And this is like 10 years ago.
So when veterans wear the
yellow? Honor. If they go on the honor flight, there's qualifications you have to meet, and it's paid for volunteers and donations and stuff. They take them to Washington D.C.
Really?
We'll remind me. There's the teaser. We'll talk about that. But anyway, they do that. And they had their jackets on, so it was apparent that they were on an honor flight at one time. Wow. They get the World War II, and they pay for it. And every city does it. And then you'll have a ceremony at the airport.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. I've come into Chicago one time, and there was a ceremony going on, like cheers and music. Oh, it was emotional. And they take him to D.C. They go to look at the walls and stuff, the memorial walls. Anyway, I shook their hands, and one guy was, I don't know, Navy or something.
Uh-huh.
The middle guy, all Hispanic guys, and the middle guy was at Normandy Infantry.
Wow.
Then the third guy, I couldn't stop shaking his hand. You know what he did?
What did he do?
A belly gunner in a B-17. I said, God bless you. Because if they didn't get shot and if they had problems, they couldn't land right, he's crushed.
That's it.
You see movies like that, and it's true.
And that's the thing, because back then it was all gear driven.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there's so much flak. Anything happened to that ball turret,
the hydraulics or something, hydraulics and
they
stuff.
were stuck in, and they were like crammed in there. They were like in a crouching sitting position. It was not comfortable. It was cold.
So I couldn't stop shaking his hand.
I mean, talk about balls of steel.
Yeah. And see, they're like in their late 80s, 90s.
Well, here's the number. Of the 16.1 million Americans who served in global conflict, a little more than 119,000 are still left living as of this year.
Wow.
Yeah, not many. And an average of 131 of them are dying a day.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of this here, so you all out there, pass the word along, Google honor flight, and go ahead and if you have a family member that falls into those categories, read about the requirements and stuff. I wish I would have done this with my uncle, who was a Korean War veteran and got into so he could go do this honor flight. And if you know someone that's in it, or if you know someone that has done it, pass along the word that, hey, it is this.
Wow.
And we'll talk. Okay, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to apply to be. They have guardians. You pay out of pocket, but that's okay.
Check this out.
Go ahead.
World War I. The last U.S. veterans died in 2011.
Really? Oh
World
my
War I.
God! To see all those changes.
Wow. World War I. And the last British woman served in the Women's Royal Air Force. She died in February 4th, 2012.
Wow.
No more World War I veterans left.
No.
And she was 110. I like talking about World War I a lot. Like, we live in a time where movies, pictures, and everything. But we live in a time of amnesia.
Oh, I like that.
How do you say this? We are literally 104 years away from World War I.
Right.
And what that equates to my dad and my granddad. That's it. I'm only 2 people away from the Great War.
Right, the Great War. There you go.
We're only 2 people away from that. I mean, if you want to talk about the Poncho. I mean, we're only 2 people away from the Great War. I mean, the Border War. You know what the Border War was? That's Pershing going after Pancho Villa.
Yeah, the
1912.
1916.
1916?
Yeah,
it was the 1916 World War One. It was 1912 to 1914. Blackjack Pershing.
Oh yeah, the Mexican Revolution.
He went after because Pancho Villa did his one of the only raids in America in Columbus, New Mexico. So we're only 2 people away from that. If you talk about the Civil War, we're only 3 or 4 people away from that.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in that perspective of time, we're not that very far away from it. In 100 years, in 100 years in time, and it sounds like a lot, but it's not.
No.
It's really not. I mean, my granddad died in 98, or something like that, roughly, 96-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a guy that went from horses, saw the first cars, to the first paved roads, to watching an airplane, to watching the man on the moon.
Right.
I mean, a guy that saw, our grandparents saw so much, but that happened only like a person or 2 away from us. So it's not that far, but we're so far, but yet we're so far away from it. Here we are in 2024, and our morals now and our conviction has gotten so far away from what they went through.
Yeah.
And we think about smart bombs, cruise missiles.
Yeah.
We're so disconnected from war. So what's going on in Ukraine, I talk about Ukraine a lot. There's an app called Telegram. It's like a texting app. And I'm on Telegram apps for people like in Israel and Ukraine. And you see stuff that happened like yesterday.
Wow.
And you're watching trench fighting going on in Ukraine. So exactly what happened 100 years ago happening again right now. I mean, the worst kind of fighting. I mean, scared stiff. It's cold. People. I mean, it's. But like I say, we're in the sense of time. We're so far away from it. It's we're a different people from back then.
Yeah, but that's why when they say we got to take history out of schools. No.
If anything, we're not doing enough to teach it.
Yeah, and they say, well, why? Well, there you go. Why do we have to learn about history? 2 things. When I substitute, I said, when I grew up in Chicago, there was a commercial for the Daily News, a newspaper. And I was like 7 years old, but to this day, I remember their selling point or thing was, don't be a conversation dropout. Yeah. Read the Daily News.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's how I tell the kids. I was telling the kids, high school, and I said, that's why you want to know about history, this. And to this day, I would talk to people, well, because you know what helps me the most?
What's that?
YouTube TV.
There's some good stuff on there.
Oh, a lot of documentaries and different opinions and stuff. I would even tell the kids. I said, man, if I was in your era, I'd have all A's.
So check this out. Assuming that the average person lives to about 80, I could probably do it a little bit more than that. But assuming that somebody lives to 80, from today to Alexander the Great,
right?
You're only separated by 29 people.
Wow.
If you put it in context, because Alexander the Great died in 323 BC before Christ. And so you think of ancient history, but in reality, you're talking like your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, people that we don't know. I don't know my great-great-great-great, but when you think about 29 people, I mean, how many people go shopping at Walmart at any given time? There's 60 people there at any given time?
Yeah.
29 people, not a lot. I mean, ancient history is not that ancient. Yeah. And you're talking about guys that were fighting with spears and knives. I mean, talk about stones, having a pair of stones.
You know what that brings me back to? The last Indiana Jones movie. Did you see it?
The one where they're in South America with the aliens, or?
No, when they go back in time.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to watch the last Indiana Jones when he's the old. That's awesome. I'm not going to say anything, and you'll understand when I said it reminds me of that with the stones and stuff. Oh yeah, please.
Really? When they go back in time?
Oh yeah. It's a good one. And then they did good with making Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford younger and different different things. And Oh, you got to watch it. And
I mean, talk about.
I'm not going to be a spoiler.
Indiana. I mean, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he's 78, 79.
God.
Hey, you know.
I mean, he's a guy's guy, but let me see here. The last one that came out in 2023. I didn't know. I don't know how I missed this. It's The Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, you know what? I got to get going. I got another 3 podcasts to do. No, just kidding.
What's a good takeaway from today's show? If you have a good takeaway from, we were kind of all over. I mean, we talked about some really good stuff.
Oh, okay. You know what? A good one is, I use this a lot. We're all human.
We're all human.
And being human now, even more so, we have to have an open mind to communicate, but it's two-way street. The listener, and don't tell somebody to do it. A recommendation, an idea. This is what I heard, even though you're bullshitting. People throughout life, throughout years, don't like to be told what to do.
No.
You know, nobody likes the authoritarian and stuff. And that's how even communicating with kids. You know, I recommend this, this for safety reasons.
Like, yeah, how you're saying you communicate with
Yes. And because nowadays, it's not a two-way street.
It's not.
No, it's me. And that's true. I use that comment too, a two-way street. For a good thing, we were talking about road rage. I let people cut in.
Yeah.
But nobody waves. A lot of people don't wave.
Yeah.
And it's passing along the mentality. Well, fuck you. I'm not going to let you pass.
Yeah.
So and that it's a snowball effect. And I'll yell out the window, "You're welcome," And but anyway, so the take on this today is communication.
Communication.
And remember the consequences.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the snowball effect.
Don't throw the snowball.
Don't throw. Oh, I like that. Is the snowball effect is the actions mom or dad does or the person does that split second, Oh, good example. You're in a bar and you slap a guy or slap a girl. In the record, it's assault.
It's assault.
It's not, I just pushed them. No, it's assault.
And
you try to get a job. Go ahead.
It's funny you say the bar example.
Oh,
because when I became older, I became very well aware of this, and it scared me. You get into one bar fight, you throw that punch, that guy falls and he hits his head wrong.
Oh yeah, a lot of people in jail for that, for different things like that.
Suddenly, like murder,
Yeah.
unintentionally. You hit that guy and hit the curb hard and hit it wrong.
You know a good example of the movie?
What's that?
Con Air.
Con Air.
Remember?
Yeah.
He's a ranger. Huh?
Yeah.
Is that good?
That is good, man. Jeez, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Yeah. He got in a bar fight, and he got convicted for killing the guy. Manslaughter,
The consequences.
Yeah, consequences. That's what I would say. Consequences, because whether it's summer, winter, spring, or fall, you still have the snowball effect.
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh, I'm going to fall out of my chair.
I keep on going back. Don't throw the snowball.
You're going to say. Actually, that's a good story. My kids love my stories, man.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, I come up with oh, yeah.
But that's a good life.
Oh,
that's a good life.
Yeah, I have my friends saying, man,
Yeah.
Raul. He said, they were Army CID agents. I have a friend in Kansas, and he said, man, no wonder you're messed up.
Man, you've got more together than anybody else I know.
Oh, well, thank you. You know what I think it is? I just talked to my niece in Chicago. She's a retired Chicago cop.
Wow.
And my mentality, oh yeah, she's been through some crap. And my niece, she's on 5 years CPD. Oh, I wish she'd go federal and
CPD.
stuff. Chicago police. Oh yeah, her husband's a detective. Anyway, my mentality is different from a lot of people because I have seen things, not in combat, but in law enforcement and the military, especially. I was a criminal investigator and stuff, autopsies and all that stuff. And I saw a lot of blood and gore. And for me to see something now, anything, I may go, whoa. But after that, to the 1,000 power, nothing surprises me. I've had sex cases. I had investigators. I've heard all kinds of stuff, heard things, seen stuff, blah, blah, blah. So nothing surprises me.
Yeah.
I may go, whoa,
I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, yeah. And when people rubberneck an accident, if I don't see from a distance, I don't recognize a car, I don't even look.
Yeah.
you know. And remind me when we talk about ghost stories next time. I got some good ones for you.
Dude, I look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. This was great. Thank you for inviting me. And one last...
long overdue.
Long overdue. And I'm a talker. But the last thing for community is the officer that was killed recently in Las Cruces PD. If you go on any social media...
God bless him.
They have a GoFundMe.
Okay.
And it's still going on, and they have different things. You could even stop at the police station during duty work hours and make a donation, et cetera, and it's going to go. And last I heard, the GoFundMe was at least 100,000.
Good.
And that's a sad thing, but
he left 2 kids behind, didn't he?
Yes, they have. I saw a photograph, and 2 children, a wife, and 29 years old. So
absolutely senseless.
Yeah, but the sad thing is that's the way the world is. And one last thing about that, in general, if people are killing police officers, you and I are nobody.
That's a really good point.
Exactly. Yes.
And kind of related, like with the immigrants that came across, and they're immigrants that just came across, and they're in New York, and they're fighting cops.
Yeah.
That's a can of worms we can get into next time.
Next time. So what I'll do, next time, I guarantee you, I will bring the can opener. Otro cerveza.
But that is Mr. Raul. You know what, man? Thank you for your service, and thank you for all the veterans out there.
This is great today.
Again, we're on Rumble, Instagram. We're on a lot of different podcasting. So give us a like, give us a comment, and thank you. But if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. And, man, that's awesome.
And keep smiling, man.
Keep smiling. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Keep smiling.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Have a good night. And
Good?
that's good.